Hi, man.
All
Ready
right.
to do this.
And we're
Three,
not doing it in three, two.
two, one. What is up, my fellow compatriots of nerds and geekdom and all in between who revel in the stuff that we revel in, all the nerdy stuff, basically. I am one of your hosts of this amazing podcast, PS Comics. I love you. I am J.R. Cabacungan, aka the Dark King, and to my left, right, below, above me, like usual, like always, is the one, the only.
Did somebody say something about Rebels? I just watched Age of Ultron the other day. I'm Kevin Pillow, aka the Voice of Reason, Voice of Reason 23.
Yes, sir.
Just watched Age of Ultron. I know. I said the magic, or I said the bad word, Joss Whedon.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I love taking some deep dives into the Marvel Cinematic Universe every once in a while. I did rewatch First Avenger. Man, going back and watching what we know now, 10 plus years later.
Yeah.
A vast multiverse of content. It is so cool to go back and watch and see some of the things that we missed. Matter of fact, we're going to get off on a tangent right off the bat. And yes, we will explain the 10 rings here in just a moment. If you've been living under a rock, something massive happened today. And it's it's really, and I can say this without being racist.
Okay.
This is a day, genuinely, I think, in geekdom that JR has been waiting his entire life for.
Yeah.
I think this is an important day for people of that culture, and we will explain in just a short minute. But just to go off on a tangent for a second, there was so many little Easter eggs that I missed going back and watching stuff like the first Avenger. And one of the things I noticed, if anybody's watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and been through, I think, like season 2 or season 3, where they address the legacy of Hydra and where Hydra came from, and that it actually started from a distance, from a, and the canon of Hydra started on a far off planet where they worshipped a octopus style creature or whatever, and it would end up being Hive or whatever.
Yeah.
There's reference to Hive and a octopus god in these quick when Dr. Erskine is explaining who Red Skull is. There's little flashes of like books and stories and stuff, because they explain that what's Red Skull's real name?
I forgot. The Red Skulls.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways, him, that in the comic books, he's obsessed with the occult and history and stuff like that. And when Erskine's talk about that, they do show a little flash of like an old an old Sanskrit sort of drawing of what looks like Hive. Which, if anybody knows who's Hive is, he's this like, he almost looks like what's his name from what's up?
He's Cthulhu, basically.
Well, he looks like, what's his name from Pirates of the Caribbean movies with the
tentacles.
Yeah,
like that's it's
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones, but it's just the funny thing is that anything octopus related or like anything that looks like in that regard is Cthulhu mythos. And so for the old head writers and like those who love Cthulhu mythos, like if you ever hear like, stories of Cthulhu, right? Like this is old ancient god that's in our seas, that the second he rises up from the waters, and anybody who looks at him, they'll go crazy. And so a lot of writing nowadays is based from Cthulhu. And Cthulhu, if I remember correctly, I forgot, I'm like forgetting the name of the actual writer, who funny enough was an asshole in real life, but his work was just so magnanimous post death that people just ran with it. But Cthulhu was made from H.P. Lovecraft. Duh. So the Lovecraftian universe. So like, yeah, a lot of
a lot of that mythos comes from
from Cthulhu. But like it's great because the nerds and geeks like us knows like, oh snap, yeah, that does look like freaking Cthulhu. Or like, here's hoping that we get some other versions or forms of like different Lovecraftian gods in the pantheon of Marvel, which you see in the day and age where like, both fiction or for both works kind of like kind of mesh in together because just how much H.P. Lovecraft's work has just shined and really been adopted in today's era, or in just the era of writing, basically. But yeah, you see definite. I'm glad that you caught that. I caught that the first time too. I'm like, that's different. That's a definite Lovecraftian
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
and I'd never caught it before, and I was watching it, and I was like, pause, rewind, and I was like, it's Hive, or it is the Hydra MacGuffin, so to speak. Speaking of the Marvel Cinematic Universe slash comic universe, we'll start things off with some small news and notes. We just have about 3 button points to get to, and then we're going to get to our Flex Pool Unlimited episode. Since we're in the middle of one of the greatest miniseries in TV history, I'm going to say it. One of the greatest television miniseries of all time. I honestly think that you can put Falcon and the Winter Soldier up there with some of the great TV miniseries ever created. I honestly think after episode number 5 that that Anthony Mackie and the gentleman whose name eludes me at this time that played Isaiah Bradley, just on the scene alone, deserves an Emmy. It was so good, and I think your microphone's off.
Oh yeah, abs. Thank you. Thank you.
I was sitting there like, oh, don't. Jr. broke his computer.
Nah, you can definitely tell if my microphone's off.
That's right. Okay. As soon as you tap it, I'm like, oh, something's different. I need to get one. I like my toner mic,
Yeah.
but you can definitely tell the difference between our 2 mics.
Just definitely just small tangent. I'll send you a link if you ever want to get one. I know this is the first version. The second version has different colors like blue and purple and stuff. You can put you access that's the one too. But
my wife is not gonna like that.
Hopefully I can help you convince her. But just say it's for the business, babe. It's for the business. We're trying to grow something. But yeah,
I've put a lot of money into our business.
Same, my guy, same. But going back on to your point of like, yeah, it definitely is for me one of the best miniseries, and I've watched quite a few, and just more so on the essence of like how a medium that has 2 established characters can so easily divide a fandom as well as construct an incredibly multi-layered question about just history, about our country, about symbols and how we view those symbols, and who then is relegated to take the responsibilities of those symbols.
Yeah.
It's a incredibly multifaceted question that needs to be answered and needs to be asked, basically, right? Because I would love to have when we watch the last episode, we'll have a long discussion about this, but just people tend to forget the fact that the shield that we have come to know and love from Captain America is actually the American flag. It's a representation of the American flag. We all know this, right? It's just that people now disassociate the American flag with Captain Shield because of who Steve Rogers was, right? Now, homie, it is a representation of the American flag. And it's just that question of like, do we rock with that symbol now, right? What does that symbol represent to us? What it's supposed to mean? And we have a lot of takes, and just from that sheer note alone, where it can ask this question and just have so many people kind of split and divided, but at the same time having conversations about what does this mean to you and what should it mean going forward, and as well as just the opportunity to say, yeah, Black man in America in today's age should be, not could be, but should be Captain America. He damn well deserves it, and he damn well represents the proper ideals and history of our country. And just off of that, it's crazy for me to think that the relevancy and just in the time period or the time where it's still relevant now, but like it's still relevant now, but like this the coping the type of like framing work, there you go, framing work of Black Panther, right, when that first came out, has the exact same levity, levity, and as well as impact, with Black Panther, with Winter, with Captain Falcon and slip a tongue, but Falcon and Winter Soldier, in the sense of like how much meat is on the bone and like what it talks about our history, and I feel that's an amazing thing to do, especially when you're not, especially when it's for us to basically unravel and unpack, and that's just an amazing thing to do. But yeah, I absolutely agree. Just that scene alone deserves an Emmy.
Yeah, and I just again I can't express enough at how well Carly or oh is it Carly? Yeah,
Charlie
the
Morgenthau?
director. No, the
Oh
director.
no 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 no. I'll check for you. I'll check for you quick.
How well the director has been, and this was supposed to be like the novice fans or even the hardcore fans figured this was going to be a by the numbers action series
Ah,
that was going to be okay. Falcon and Bucky, maybe they don't exactly get along,
yeah
but it's going to be a typical buddy cop TV show,
yeah
kind of like Chips, kind of like Miami Vice.
yeah
um you know it's,
yeah.
you got I'm call it what it is. You got person of color, you got the token white guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're sometimes they get along, sometimes they don't get along.
Mm-hmm.
They come from different backgrounds, and they're gonna just try to, because there were so many villains set up uh for this series that it was going to be easy to, almost every episode would be like its own little mini
Yeah
CSI
yeah
SVU kind of episode. But no, it's a overarching, long, drawn out story that has a character like Sam Wilson,
mm-hmm.
an African American
Mm-hmm.
character, going in a philosophically different direction than I think a lot of people were thinking it was
Yeah,
going to go. So again, don't want to spoil anybody. If you want to check out, if you've already watched the show, if you want to be spoiled, check out our review
yes, right.
online. If you go to our YouTube channel, there's a whole playlist
Mm-hmm.
dedicated to the 5 episodes. I think episode number 4 is missing in that because it was part of last week's main episode
Yes,
that we
right,
did,
right.
but I got to throw it in there. But check that out. If you haven't watched it, dude, go to Disney Plus. It's worth the subscription alone.
Mhm.
Plus, you got Bad Batch coming out next month, and you've got Loki coming out in June. So
And also just for that, Scary Skulklin is the director. Who she's freaking amazing. Like I said, like we said multiple
oh,
times,
killing it.
oh, killing it. And she needs to be locked down in the sense of like multi years, hopefully a freaking decade if you can. Just her,
I'm
just
wondering.
give her anything, give her
I'm
anything.
wondering. Oh, absolutely. Here, I was thinking about this.
Mhm.
Based solely on the storytelling that they've done from a, for the lack of a better term, a kind of black theme, so to
Mhm.
speak,
Mhm.
Black America theme.
Mhm.
And I'm not, but go with, because I think the writers should go as well.
Yeah, yeah. The whole
Is
team, whole team.
get with Ryan Coogler
Oh,
to do Kingdom of Wakanda.
mm,
That's going to be a mini series in a couple of years.
okay.
That is going to be phenomenal. For those of you who don't know, real quick before we get to our main story, we're already ran off a tangent.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler, he is the director of both Black Panther and Black Panther 2. Signed on with Disney to do a mini series for Disney Plus based on the Kingdom of Wakanda. So it's Black Panther, like we saw in Black Panther 1, can go anywhere. It can go to Korea, it can go to the United States, it can go this way and that way, and it can go all over the globe. But
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler is going to produce, and I think he might even showrun, but I don't know. But he's going to produce
Yeah.
a series called The Kingdom of Wakanda, and it's going to be based on what goes on in Wakanda day to day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think this is going to be, because there is no plans as of right now for a Black Panther 3, but that
Mhm.
could always change because, let's see, Black Panther 1, top 5 highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that this group could easily tell some very, very good stories. And I'm not just saying that because they wrote a couple of black stories. No,
No.
I just think that they are telling very good stories. And I want so desperately there to be, and I think JR and I both said this in the previous episode. This the first we'll go on any kind of spoilers beyond this, is I want them so desperately to do a truth red, white, and blue. A
Yeah.
Isaiah, I want them to do an
Absolutely.
Isaiah
Bradley.
Bradley story,
Yeah.
or just include him
Yeah.
in a flashback. Do something with his story.
Yeah.
I think it could be,
Yeah.
definitely should be told.
Definitely. Yeah. The team that did this series definitely should do more work because I love the fact that like they're not shying away from history. That's
How
the one
about
thing I love.
this?
Go ahead.
Same crew,
Yeah.
same director.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of Falcon and the Winter Soldier season 2,
Yeah.
we get a mini series, 6-episode mini series, Truth, Red, White, and Blue.
That'd be freaking amazing, dude.
The only
And like,
difference is obviously that Isaiah Bradley, spoiler alert,
mhm.
never donned the colors. He never, so it had to be kind of a different interpretation of the comic book, because Isaiah Bradley was never officially the Black Captain America.
Yeah. It's just, you're gonna have to, of course, get the original writer and everything else, which I'm pretty sure they will. Like, it's if they want to really be on point with that, which they have been. It's just give them anything. Just at this point, they have, within the first 3 episodes, they have really proved that they can definitely handle what's coming. And the writer, the cinematographer, the director, absolutely, and everything, anyone else involved should just like, hey, we like this team, we understand where this team's going, and we definitely, I think, Winter Soldier is definitely one of the highest rated films, or rated
Shows.
shows, on Disney.
Oh so yeah, it's absolutely killing it right now.
Yeah, Disney Plus. So here, just do whatever you want to do, and we'll give you whatever resources, that, because they're verified at this point. They're definitely verified. But other than that, man, just they can't do no wrong right now in my eyes. Right now.
Speaking of writers, all-time great writers, and the Winter Soldier. We digress. We move on to our main our first topic, I should say, of this episode number 42. By the way, how fitting is this, my friend? We have explained in the past why JR, also not JR Comics 42, what the significance of the 42 is on his Instagram. One of the significances, of course, is the man who wore 42 on his back, the great, the Hall of Famer, the legendary Jackie Robinson. And if I'm correct me if I'm not wrong, I believe this past week it was Jackie Robinson Day in Major League Baseball, of course, celebrating his birthday and commemorating the player who broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. Yes, he was not necessarily the first African-American player to play professional baseball. Some will say that was Satchel Paige. But Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. So fitting that this week is episode number 42. And by the way, as a Dodger fan and as a baseball fan, Jackie Robinson is one of my all-time favorite players. I digress. We go into the first news and notes. Yes, we are probably a good 15, 20 minutes into this episode. We're just getting the first news and notes, but it's important to tell the stories we did. Ed Brubaker, writer and creator of The Winter Soldier, which, by the way, I didn't know this, JR.
Yeah.
That Ed Brubaker created, along with Steve Epting, I hope I said his name right, only created The Winter Soldier 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, you would think with the grand history of Bucky Barnes, dating back to 1941, in Captain America #1, that, and then of course, all the stories that were told in the Golden Age and Silver Age of books, that he was the Winter Soldier at one point. No, he was Bucky Barnes for decades, and there were different versions of Bucky Barnes throughout the years, but it wasn't until 2005 that Ed Brubaker and Steve Epting decided to take Bucky into a different direction and create the world's most infamous, notorious, greatest assassin, and take arguably the second most gee golly shucks character. I mean, he's literally Marvel's version of Robin.
I would actually say he's actually Marvel's version of
technically Robin's.
No, not just Robin.
Marvel's DC's Bucky Barnes.
No, I think he's Marvel's version of, like, what's Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that.
Granted, this Bucky Barnes killed people, but still, this Jimmy Olsen killed people. But
the Jimmy Olsen in Batman versus Superman killed people.
Oh, that's true.
So the one thing I will never forgive Zack Snyder for. Is that version of Jimmy Olsen. But we never got the real Jimmy Olsen. So there's all kinds of fan theories about, was it did Lois know that was really Jimmy Olsen, blah 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 blah. Anyways, back to the story at hand. Ed Brubaker, writer and creator of The Winter Soldier and the Winter Soldier persona of Bucky Barnes, created him in 2005 as he relaunched Captain America that featured the new backstory of Bucky Barnes in his role as the Terminator-esque assassin. great wordplay, JR, of course, who is our writer on every episode. Um, the particular run that was framework for the MCU's Guardians as Captain America's Winter Soldier and Civil War movies. There's a great. Is it called the Winter Soldier? What's the run that he started? Was it called the Winter Soldier, or was it part of Captain America?
It was part of Captain America back in 2005 because he relaunched it, right? And it was I think the character Bucky wasn't used for a very long time at that point.
Yeah, I think he had been kind of thrown out
in
the
and out.
pasture.
Yeah, and so they made a relaunch of it, and it was found out that at the age of 16, when he was lost in World War II, that he was actually found armless, and that he was, of course, a Hydra agent, or was formed to be a Hydra agent in a sleeper cell, given the imperfect version of the soldier or the serum that Cap got, and became this walking tank of a man, basically, or this stealthy, deadly walking tank of a man. And yeah, we see the stories of the Winter Soldier pop up within the series, and so it is literally revealed that it's freaking Bucky.
Bucky Barnes.
It's Bucky Barnes, and so the reimagining of just a sidekick trope character was back in 2005, and like, no, this is Bucky Barnes is someone to be to not mess with, and because from that, right, this is the same run that killed Captain America, and then he became and then Bucky Barnes became Captain America. So that was 2007,
Well,
2008.
Civil War 1, is right around 07, 08. I know they did Civil War 2 in 16.
Yeah.
But I
it
forgot
was,
about that.
Yeah. It was like, it was a weird time where Bucky became Captain America, and then then Cap came back, and then he became Winter Soldier again, and then something else happened. Yeah, Captain got older because the serum wore off, and then he wanted someone to become Captain America again, but younger, so he gave it to Sam. He gave the shield to Sam. So that's where in 2012, 2013, we see the Sam Wilson Captain America.
Yeah,
for the new Marvel Now lineup.
It may have been Marvel Now, because it was right around the same time that you had Jane Foster Thor,
Captain Marvel, forgot her name.
Well, Captain Marvel, it was Carol Danvers, and then of course Kamala Khan becomes Miss Marvel. So, which, by the way, I found on Disney Plus. If you guys want to go on to Disney Plus, go to the Marvel section, scroll down to the animated series. Really underrated cartoon. Marvel's Avengers world. What is it? They call them. Oh gosh, darn it! What do they call them? The world's
Avengers?
No. What do they call the Avengers?
World's Mightiest Heroes.
The World's Mightiest Heroes. It's a great series. If you scroll down, it's pretty much the only animated Avengers series. Well, no, there's an Ultimates Avengers on there, but it's really, really good. They get some great storytelling. And I was watching, there was an episode on Michael Korvac. We talked a couple of weeks ago that Michael Korvac potentially is going to be one of the main villains in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yes, sir.
And there's a very good episode about that kind of explains who Michael Korvac is, and also explains different variation of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So moving on, the reason we're talking about Ed Brubaker is he was on Kevin Smith's podcast, which, by the way, I'm gonna shoot my shot, dude. I'm gonna ask Kevin Smith to come on this show because oh my god, I would just
nice to
have. I seriously, I don't smoke at all, but I would honestly, like, if you wanted to just toke it up and I drank next to him, I'd buy him some weed.
Yeah.
Since he doesn't drink, I'd buy him some weed and I'd buy him drink a beer, but I would just love to give me like a couple of hours with him and just, oh dude, absolutely. Yeah. I am a huge Kevin Smith fan. Love the Jersey trilogy, love Clerks and all that stuff. And I love that he's a huge Marvel fan. And he, of course, has an podcast called Fat Man Beyond, they usually call it like Fat Man on Batman or something like that. Yeah. This was called Fat Man Beyond, where he talked with Ed Brubaker, and he talked about how Ed Brubaker, with the Falcon and Winter Soldier going on around, what he thought about it. He goes, I don't know what to think about it because I don't get any money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really unfortunate. So Ed Brubaker commented on Kevin Smith's Fat Man Beyond podcast on Marvel's treatment of writers and creators, stating, quote, I think I might be the only person in America not excited about this show. When I see the ads for this show, it actually makes me feel sick to my stomach. As a company, why would you want to be that way? Make that, why would you, I'm sorry, why would you want that to be the way creators feel?
Yeah.
And this is a long standing problem
Yeah.
that when they've transformed written word into another medium, a lot of these creators don't get the proper credit. Now, for
Yeah.
years, Simon and Schuster got zero credit for Superman.
Mm-hmm.
They sold their rights to DC for what they think like $10,000
Yeah.
back in like the 50s or the 60s or something like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until after the Christopher Reeve, what's his name, Richard Donner,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that the director, the Richard Donner movies, with of course Christopher Reeve, that DC and Warner Brothers finally said, no, we need to give these guys credit. And from that point on, of course,
Yeah.
anytime that Superman is referenced, it's credited to Simon and Schuster. And I think like each of their family got like 100 grand, and it was like right when they died. I'm like, but still, Superman is literally by himself $1 billion franchise,
Yeah.
a billion
Easily.
dollar creator. Bob
Easily.
Kane, not until, god dang, I want to say probably not until the Christopher Nolan movies did he get credit for Batman.
Yeah.
And then the co-creator of Batman? It's Bob Kane and somebody else.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're
But
talking about.
there's, so these guys kind of get robbed. And you look at Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby didn't get a lot of credit. I know that Kevin Feige has made sure that when a character was created by Stan Lee or Jack Kirby, I think Stan Lee gets credit for almost all of the Marvel movies because
Yeah.
he was editor in chief
Yeah. He was the guy. Yeah.
when they were created. But
Yeah.
really and truly, Stan Lee only created the X-Men,
Mhm.
Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man, which of course
Yeah.
I mean, is pretty good trifecta
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But these guys
And
don't
he,
get credit.
yeah, he does that. And you're also thinking about Bill Finger, which helped co-create Batman. But just yeah, just going back onto that point of like, yeah, there's not enough creators. And granted, he made this before MCU became,
The thing,
a
yeah,
film, yeah, became an industry. But even before that, yeah, it's just we find a lot of these work for a hire type of processes, specifically in comic books, where like, yeah, okay, you go in because the character or the characters are in the mythos is there before you, so you're there to add more to it. And I get that point, but then it's just to the thing where like when your particular run of the series or your take on the series on a character becomes the thing that helps it blow off, just skyrocket into like the stratosphere. And then like, yeah, there's no necessary residuals from it. There's no necessary credit. There's no necessary, you know, income you get from it for them taking your adaptation, your idea, and them running with it. And that I think that's the reason why a lot of creators, flocked, or a lot of creators and writers flock to Image, because anything that they write and they create, it's them. It's solely
it's
them.
theirs.
It's theirs.
Yeah,
Greg Rucka, and when he created the Old Guard, that's it. That's his baby. That's his money. That's his role. They Netflix bought the IP, but they paid Greg Rucka, and they paid the artist for it, which I forgot the artist's name. And that's the reason why Greg Rucka is continuing, Old Guard with Image. And you see a you see a lot of these players, or you see a lot of these writers. They go to different, they'll go out of the big two into like Image, into what's the other ones, Dynamite, into the big one
so they
right now.
where they can own their own stuff.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure when Donny Cates, right, when he's done with Venom, when he's his count out before that, he's written the last sentence of Venom already, his run of Venom, and then inevitably when they make Venom 3, Venom 4, or whatever, and they have null there, he's gonna have credit for it, but he's not gonna see any residual income from it. That's the
Well,
thing.
I do know that a lot of the new creators
Yeah.
have worked better deals. Case in point, Tanahashi Coates. Now,
Yeah.
Tanahashi Coates
Uh,
is a rare breed. Tanahashi Coates worked with Ryan Coogler unofficially on
mm,
Black Panther 1.
mm.
Um, and I don't know if he necessarily got residuals from Black Panther, though some of the storylines that they used in that movie were based on
His
Coates'
writing.
run,
Mhm.
but it was kind of a hodgepodge. I know that they have worked better deals. Like I talked with Chris Claremont
Yeah.
a few years ago at Comic-Con Revolution. I asked him what he thought about some of the movies, and he kind of turned his nose up to it. And I was like, I get it. The guy gets asked all the time, and he probably does get kind of upset that the interpretation, especially with the Dark Phoenix saga, which he created. You got to think about it. This guy,
Yeah.
holy shit, Chris Claremont had
Yeah.
single-handedly one of the greatest runs in comic book history. Period. Not
Yeah.
the X-Men, not in Marvel. No, one of the greatest runs in comic book history. Period. Just two storylines he did: the Dark Phoenix and Days of Future Past, along
Mhm.
with other things. But
Yeah.
Chris Claremont, I asked him, and I know that he's even said this, that he alone is burnt out basically on how they have fucked up the Dark
Yeah.
Phoenix saga. They have
Uh,
not gotten it right. It's taken them to the point where Kevin Feige says we're not going to freaking do it in Marvel. If
yeah.
when and if we do X-Men, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't think why. Dark Phoenix, you can't do it. You just can't do it. It's
Yeah.
so tough. You
Yeah.
have to you have to go all in or nothing.
Yeah. And just I could definitely understand from his standpoint because of those who have tried it, those who have done it, have done horrendously. Even like even the love that I had for the original animated series, right? That wasn't even done well. And let this be known, man. X-Men was still great at the time,
Oh, the
but
animated series was fantastic.
yeah, but like even X-Men, the comic book run was still good at the time. But the reason why it was good because Chris Claremont, he most like some will try to debate this, but for me, he single handedly saved X-Men.
Oh, absolutely. It was a done book.
He's it was a around that era, right? The 80s, before Jim Lee helped, relaunch and fucking take off. It like you can't the person to really take hold of the X-Men brand was Chris Claremont. He introduced a lot more lore. He introduced a lot more, things that help, that help shape the X-Men world as well as the Marvel world around them, where
Absolutely.
people want to come back and see, who the hell, how the hell did Jean Grey get such a big power boost? What is the Phoenix Force? What are these other branching timelines? What is this version of a future where where X-Men where mutants are hunted and killed and it became this dystopian future. And so Chris Claremont, yeah, obviously, like he saved the X-Men franchise,
Oh,
man.
absolutely. I mean, it was a dead book. But I talked to him and he says that he did enjoy Days of Future Past. He did see that,
That was a good
but had and that was a good movie. It was a
it
good
was
flick.
it was, it
And
was
he talked about the same thing that Ed Brubaker talked about, that they almost have to give up their babies. It's like, imagine you give birth to a child who
yeah,
is who could, like, you give birth to this child and God will speak down to you and say, this child will be blessed with a golden arm and he will become the greatest pitcher of all time, blah, 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 blah. And then here, but you have to give it up to, you have to give up your child to whatever, some organization or something like that. That's
yeah,
basically what they have to do. They have to give up
yeah,
their golden goose.
yeah,
And the only ones really and truly, I think, to somewhat capitalize on their character creation, hate to say it, was Rob Liefeld and Rob Macias, or
yeah,
Fabian Macias.
yeah, Vinicius.
They have a deal in place with Marvel that they get paid a residual for all of the whenever Deadpool is in print.
Yeah,
If Deadpool's in a Captain America book, they get a piece. If
yep,
Deadpool is in a a Venom book, they get a piece. And that's where they actually argue with Deadpool. Kind of went away for a little bit
mhm,
before I think it was Scotty Young kind of brought it back about 3 or 4 years ago. Kind of really had a resurgence with it. There was another good run though that Deadpool had.
yeah. No, it was I remember that like the 2012 version of the book, or actually I think that went a little bit earlier than that. And until before the Scotty Young version, I did that. I was actually collecting that run.
Yeah, that
Specifically the Marvel Now, which came out in what, 2014, 2016,
something like that.
right? Some of that, the other relaunch, the fourth relaunch in like what, 6 years or something like that for Marvel.
Yeah, they had it was right around. It's funny that they're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Deadpool this year.
Yeah, that was the one where Deadpool had money. After the that big where they faced off against God Doom. I forgot what that run was called. Uh, I know what the run is, but I just forgot the name of it. But yeah, he had money. He had money. He was bankrolling the Avengers, and he was bankrolling Steve Rogers Avengers, Hydra Steve Rogers Avengers,
Oh
and
yeah,
that
I
was
do
him.
kind of remember that.
Yeah, and so like that was
Something
the run.
Deadpool totally would do.
I mean, like he, as much vitriol I have towards Liefeld and just his actions and how he just really has a huge ego. And I mean, granted, he got balls of steel, and he backs it up. It's just yeah, just being known for a role where, or just being known for being a creator for someone, honestly, Fabian Nacia should have all the fucking credit, right?
Yeah,
Fabian Nacia, this is the reason why Deadpool's Deadpool. But other than that, they did it right. I can't hate on them for that. They did it right. Okay, if my character that I wrote specifically is in anything, you give me a piece of that, because I wrote the character or I drew the character, and that version of that character you use specifically. So you should give me that money. And yeah, it sucks that a lot of the versions of characters that we've come to know and love and grown, like they are written and created by these creators that don't get credited for it, which
yeah.
sucks, man. Like, and even granted, I think the only version that I remember is that RDJ's version of Iron Man. Like, that's the reason why they wrote Iron Man like that now, because like back in 2008, Iron Man was not like RDJ's version, if I remember
No,
correctly. He was very stoic. He was very by himself. They try to kind of mimic him off of Year One Batman, if I remember correctly, of that version of Iron Man. And it wasn't until freaking you have RDJ becoming this very braggadocious, very charismatic, very I'm Tony Stark and what the hell you gonna do about it type of character that like really people really gravitated towards. And so that is when the version of Iron Man we see today in comic books is is
it's very
RDJ.
much, it's
Is
very
very
much
much
like
like that.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, at that point you should give RDJ the credit for creating that persona on screen too. So because we all I shouldn't say because it's gonna spoil the episode. But all I'm gonna say is that we see a version of Tony back in the 80s and a very pivotal cover.
Yeah,
That's who Tony was for a good portion of time until RDJ took the reins basically and made the character who he is now today. So that's one of the things we're
I
created
was
for.
wondering where you were going with that, and then I realized I knew where you were going with that.
Exactly. See? Exactly. See?
So
But continue on to I know it's a long story, but like
no, that's all right.
yeah, but
Going
continue
back,
on to the story. Yeah, just more so like in that same interview, man. I think I don't know if you said it already, but Brubaker revealed that he makes more money off the SAG residuals
yeah, I
than
have
he
that.
did his
I have the quote right here. He says go read this whole, or this is coming from comicbookmovie.com. This
yeah.
is a common place in the comic book world. Writers and artists are paid for the work they do at the time, but do not receive residuals for future payments of characters or concepts they created. That's because they work for hire, and when and if those characters are brought to TV or film, they generally are compensated. That's what Brubaker is taking issue with is
Mhm.
in this interview. He explained that he has turned down thank you credits in the past because of the paltry amount of money offered. So they are offering money to some of these guys. Some of them are taking it because they're desperate.
Yeah.
Um, but the problem is there are some, and maybe Ed Brubaker is like this, and he says that he goes the amount of money is offered and credits the past because of the paltry amount of money offered, and actually makes more money from quote SAG residuals for his cameo in Captain America: The Winter Soldier than he is for creating the character of Marvel Comics in the first place. For those of you who don't, yes, Ed Brubaker, the creator of the Winter Soldier, was actually in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. He's one
Yep.
of the doctors that is in the room with I
the
can't remember
the
the
main doctor.
senator,
Yeah.
or not the senator, the
Oh yeah, yeah.
director of Shield or whatever his
Yeah, that's
name
right.
is.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot his name too. But yeah, yeah. That's crazy to think of that he makes more money off of that cameo than he did, from
And
Marvel creating the character. That's just crazy to think of,
and I've
man.
learned this from other guys too that have gone on to Comic Con, and it's a reason why. Like, one of the things I do now. Some people go to Comic Con, they look at the panels, and they're like, I want to go to Hall H, I want to go to Ballroom 20, I want to go do this, I want to go do that, I want to go stand in line to get an autograph with Robert Kirkman, I want to go get autographs with Robert Downey Jr. or Ben Affleck or something like that. What I do, and this is because of our good friend Javelle who told me, he says, dude, look at Artist Alley. You can make a shit ton of money by going
Yeah.
up and down Artist Alley and getting books signed. Sometimes you can get books signed for free. Well, I've learned over the years from some people who have I've gone to get books signed, and they actually the books that I bring to sign, they won't sign. A lot of artists will not sign old books because A, some of them are bitter,
Mm-hmm.
and B, some of them aren't allowed to.
Mm.
I found out from talking, and I don't want to out anybody because it'll affect their non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah.
Is that some of these guys have been compensated, can't say how much they've been compensated, but they've been compensated to the point where they can no longer call themselves the creator of a comic. How much does that suck? If Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicias could not trade on the name of Deadpool from here until eternity, why even bother going to a Comic Con?
I know.
That's what they're known for. You
Yeah.
know, Rob Liefeld peddles his wares sometimes from other labels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Especially some of his Image stuff, which let's face it, really wasn't all that good. That's why he didn't last very long in Image.
I mean, yeah. There's a lot
But
of that. But,
I found out some of these guys can't trade on, or like I said, or have become bitter because they just don't want to be reminded of of what they had.
yeah.
I will say that one of the guys that probably has a lot to be bitter about are the guys from the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity War series, like
Garland.
Ron
Yeah.
Lim, and just to name a few. Some of them have become bitter. Some of them have been like, "Dude, have you realized how much our books have gone up and how much our appearance fees have gone up in the last few years?" So good for them for taking
Yeah.
advantage of that. The other one was George Perez.
Oh
Is
yeah.
another cool guy, but I mean, he did some writing, but I know he's mostly known for his artwork. But nonetheless, um, where I had on whether or not to kind of close out this story with Ed Brubaker, because we could talk about uh, uh, um, work
Yeah.
for hire.
Yeah.
It says on Brubaker if he'll watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I probably will watch it at some point. I'm conflicted about it because, like, I knew going in it was work for hire, but I also when I was writing it, they didn't have their own movie studio and weren't owned by Disney. So
Mm.
Kevin Feige, and he even goes on to say, um, he does credit because I really happy for Sebastian Stan, who I think is both a great guy and the perfect Bucky Winter Soldier. I'm glad to see him getting more screen time finally. Also, Anthony Mackie is amazing as the Falcon, and everyone at Marvel Studios that I've ever met, all the way up to Kevin Feige, have been nothing but kind to me. So he has nothing but glowing things to say about Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
It just that
Marvel.
bitch better
Yeah.
have that money.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's very much they can treat you great, like in cordial, and that's fine. It's just more so on the terms of like, okay, but you're still profiting off my work and not
Yeah,
really crediting me for it or anything like that. So it's more so that standpoint. It's because I've heard arguments where like they say where people say that, oh, you should be happy that that they're doing your work. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not being credited for it. Like you don't know. Like there's been multiple times where like you don't know who the creator of it was,
yeah.
right? And so
And
like people think the creator of it is like people think the creator is either gonna be Stanley or Kevin Feige, like, oh yeah, he created it, or Marvel created it, right? As a blanket statement. But like when it comes to individual work specifically, and I know this, right? Like there's something to be said when you were not credited for a work that you created, and it just kind of stings a little bit. It
Yeah,
stings a little more like
agreed.
I put a lot of work and heart and effort into that thing, and great that it's doing good without me, but like at the same time, like it would be nice to be known, and as well count, if it's, especially if it's making millions upon millions of dollars, at least be compensated for that form too. Like,
And I know that people will make this argument that well maybe the maybe they'll sell more books, and it does.
you know,
Sid Johnson, who the owner of Desert Oasis Comics, has said that since comics have gone back into the movie theater and have
mhm,
been this resurgent over the last 10 plus years,
yeah,
going if you want to really talk about it really and truly, you go back about 21 years, go back to the original X-Men.
yeah,
Is really and truly, I mean, you could say what you want about Spider-Man, um, which was amazing, one of the highest grossing films at the time, highest grossing films of all time, but it was X-Men number one
yeah,
that sent the cinematic universe into a meteoric rise. And the Sid has said, especially since the inception of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but most specifically probably since um Christopher Nolan's Batman,
mhm,
the Dark Knight trilogy, that comic book sales have gone through the roof.
yeah,
And the problem is that when all of a sudden a Dark Knight volume one, issue number one, when you sell a Dark Knight book,
mhm.
you don't get, what's his name? Oh gosh, I can't think of his
uh
name now. Frank Miller.
yeah,
Frank
fair enough.
Miller's not getting extra bucks.
No,
Now
it's
his
not
stock may rise at a Comic Con and he can ask for more,
money.
a little
Yeah,
more money. But he doesn't get, he doesn't go, DC doesn't go, hey, you know what, Frank, you had a good month this month. Why don't you give Christopher Nolan a call and thank him? Now, Frank Miller can call Christopher Nolan and say, thank you. I'm now getting $7,000 a con or
yeah,
whatever it is to appear, but he doesn't get any more money from DC,
mhm,
which people say, well, that kind of sucks. I'm like,
yeah,
DC's not printing new Frank Miller Dark Knight books.
yeah. Well,
So
okay. So technically,
I'm
they
sure
kind of are. I
they
mean,
kind of do, but they're not, Frank Miller's not getting any
yeah,
more of it.
yeah, yeah.
You
They're
know,
like, yeah.
when they print a New Mutants number 98
Yeah,
for the umpteenth millionth time, Fabian's not, well, I guess he technically is, but he's not
yeah,
getting, he's not breaking and being brought off a check.
yeah.
Now, I will say this, that talking with Fabian Nicias, and I always hope I get his name right. The one character that does piss Fabian and Rob off about, it's one of my favorite characters,
Gwenpool.
Gwenpool,
Yeah,
because Marvel will tell you it's not a Deadpool amalgamation. Even though she looks like Deadpool, she breaks the fourth wall like Deadpool, and her
I
last
love
name is Pool. And they said the reason they worked around it was her original name was Gwenpool, but now she's Gwendolyn Poole,
yeah,
Poole.
yeah,
That's her official name. But let's face it, whenever a book comes out, whenever she's marketed, it's Gwenpool. Gwenpool.
yeah.
And from the get-go, when she first appeared on Deadpool, the what was it, the something
Yeah,
something Deadpool
yeah,
number
it's yeah,
one?
it's just yeah, it's more so the fact that yeah, more creators aren't really getting credited for their work, or spawns of work for it. But yeah, just going back into that, just it's just
It
it's
sucks.
just it just sucks all around, because yeah, it's a lot of these older creators, right, that created these things we see today, back in the 80s, 70s even, aren't, getting credited for their work, or aren't even getting compensated for it, especially in today's age where it's such a booming market now for superhero genre movies and superhero genre just TV shows and everything have you. So absolutely, I understand. It just sucks
And
that there isn't necessarily a specific union just for comic creators. There is a SAG, which is understandably so, but more so like on that, like the people, that was more so attributed to just straight, thick, forms of fiction in movies and TVs.
Well, SAG is the
In
Screen
novels,
Actors Guild, so
Screen
it's
actors.
whenever when you're going to be in a
Yeah,
union movie, you have to join the Screen Actors Guild.
yeah,
I have an uncle who is worked in the movie business. He was
yeah.
a costume creator for sports movies, and he talked about, yeah, if you want to be in a movie, you have to
Screen actors.
join SAG,
Okay.
and whatnot. So, um,
Yeah.
real quick, I think that one of the problems too that goes into, and I have to look up again. We'll go down this rabbit hole another time.
Okay.
But actually, I think the unions, the Writers Guild,
There you go.
might actually be um, a barrier that is causing this problem. I know the
Mm,
work for hire is is one thing. You have to take into consideration, like I said, you have Ed Brubaker. Ed Brubaker did not create
mhm,
Bucky Barnes. He created the Winter Soldier persona of Bucky Barnes. So I think I get Ed Brubaker creating a character, but it's a uh, uh, it's an amalgamation of a character. It's a new version of an existing character. You know, when you got a guy like Fabian and Rob, they create
it's
a
the original.
brand
Dude,
new
well,
character, and they were smart enough to go, "Hey, Marvel, we're going to create this character for you. We got this idea, but this is the deal that's going to be made." And I
mhm,
think wisely, their predecessors have taught them, especially Jack Kirby, who did okay for himself, but really and truly was he died in a small apartment in New York, where you think the guy freaking he's the king. He's King Jack Kirby. I mean, he worked on Cap One,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
borderline died penniless.
Yeah. It's it doesn't help that there's this recurring theme of like starving actor, starving, or starving creator,
Starving
starving
writer, yeah,
artist type of thing. Where yeah, absolutely, David, David Nazia, and all of them, they deserve their credit, but at the same time, like it's just optics, right?
yeah,
It's hard to deny the fact that your version of that character is the one that's being constantly used and
yeah.
constantly promoted and constantly benefited off of just people, just it would if anyone made let's say the a version of the worst character ever, right? Whatever that character may be, and then your version of it made that character super redeemable, super marketable, and like love beyond beyond what the original creator of that meant. And then Marvel, DC, whatever just ran with it, and then was $1 million maker, right? Was $1 million, $1 billion maker, right? Like you would think that that you would be credited for it, for that type of work. In the same essence where um I forgot which version it was. I think it was either Perez or someone else, where the version of Wonder Woman, right, that is seen and lauded today is much different from the original Wonder Woman.
Original.
Like,
Well,
well, that's the thing, though, right? Like, people are going to give credit to the original maker of it, but not understand the fact that the original maker was into BDSM and loved tying up Wonder Woman. That is hella freaking like not confrontational, but that's not something
well,
you would see nowadays,
no,
or
but
openly do. But like you would think George Perez and his run and going onward would be would give credence to those creators. And so again, I understand the Writers Guild. It might be there to
yeah, who knows what?
it might be a tough thing to do, but at the same time, that just leads me to believe that okay, we should kind of like reformat or like rewrite the rules per
Well,
se, or understand that make it come with the times, because like we have versions of this now. Like nothing in this world, or nothing in the existence of a film has ever dealt something like MCU. Nothing.
no,
No, nothing. No, like don't give me anything for it. Like no, there is nothing in the history of film and media that ever had anything near MCU. And so
no.
because of MCU, you have all these things that are brought up now into the light of like, okay, what about original creators? What about this? What about that? How do we deal with like multiple appearances of a certain character that's not just been in movies but TV, in different type of film and different type of mediums, right?
Yeah.
And grants people will say, well, look at Harry Potter. Okay, Harry Potter was in just movies and books, but then what about James Bond? Okay, was James Bond in any other types of medium other than movies and books? No. We have now a character. We have characters that have been in TV shows, that have been in movies, that have been in books, that have been in comics. Like multiple mediums that has spawned across at least 20 years. What are the rules for this now? And so, like, I think that's the thing where we need to look at the rule book and see what, if we can update the rule book basically, and how to
Yeah.
then properly pay the people that deserve the credit and deserve to be paid for it. And granted, like, we've probably been on this thing for majority of the time already, so I think we should continue to move on.
Yeah,
But
and we definitely could talk about the work for hire, because in JR we could go down this path just on what JR just said alone, where he talks about, sometimes the guys who have made the characters better aren't the ones who get the credit, and you can look no further than Deadpool. Fabian and Rob, really their initial debut of Deadpool kind of sucked.
Wasn't good,
It's
man.
not it's not the Deadpool that we know and love now.
No.
Yeah, they created him as this merc and stuff like that, but they did not create this fourth wall breaking character.
No, it was
Nonetheless, we could go down that rabbit hole another time. Huge day, by the way. I did not know this until I got home and I was watching Nerdist talk about what happened today, and of course, the first teaser trailer for Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Whoa! I just scared the crap out of myself because I accidentally played the trailer for Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which is due out on September 3rd of this year.
Yep.
It is, by the way, Simu Liu. If I said that right, it's his birthday. Happy birthday to Simu. And he had no idea. He had no idea they were dropping the trailer today. And according to the reports I'm hearing, Kevin Feige dropped it today because it was his birthday.
Yep.
And he woke up to, as he even tweeted, he goes, happy birthday to me. You can't.
Yeah.
He goes, I got to find the tweet, but it was like, I can't believe there's anything that would be better than a birthday, and this is it. And this is a long time coming. This is there's been plenty of kung fu movies and fighting movies of this style. Obviously, JR and I spoke about this at length earlier today, and we don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole in itself. That there's a whole genre of movies, quote, like this, and Jackie Chan made an entire career out of it. One of the greatest commercially and critically, one of the greatest success stories of this genre came in the last 20-25 years, and of course that is the one, the only Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That this genre of film has been pushed to the forefront. This, quote, Chinese cinema, so to speak, this fighting the kung fu style of cinema, but not to this scale.
Yeah,
this is a for the most part, I'd say 98% Chinese or Chinese descent cast.
Yep.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is a Chinese director.
Yeah, it's majority of it is East Asian descent. I think there's one or two Vietnamese people in there, possibly.
But I mean, like the lone white guy is what's his name? Razor Fist.
Yeah. I think he'll be the not necessarily the like bad guy, but more so like probably the right hand of the bad guy per se. But yeah, it was
say the hand.
Stop it. But yeah, I saw like I remember you texted me saying that hey, you should rewrite the script. I'm like, what happened? And you told me that this thing came up. I'm like, oh snap, let me check it out. And then
I sent him a link. Yeah. I sent him a link to the YouTube video from Marvel Studios YouTube channel. And then I said, bro, and just because it's the only one that was available, I sent the little ninja emoji.
Racist.
It was, come on. They don't have a kung fu emoji. They don't have a Shang-Chi emoji yet. They will. I'm sure that Marvel's going to license an emoji app that I'm going to have to download to go with my Doctor Strange one. But it took me a couple of viewings. The first time I saw it, I'll be honest, I didn't like it. And go with me on this.
Okay.
What I didn't like about it was it had, and a friend of mine pointed this out, it had a Black Panther feel to it.
Yeah.
And from a CGI standpoint.
Yeah.
And maybe some of it's not finished. Maybe it's out of context. Maybe it was just the wrong frame of that. But after watching, I think I've seen the trailer about 4 times now. And
Mhm.
I know we're overanalyzing, not even a full trailer, it's a teaser.
Yeah.
Freaking Hollywood. It's too trailers used to be 30 seconds. Now a teaser is 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it, and then I started watching again, and JR brought us some good points, and I did see the elements of Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a scene in a forest where a lot of people are thinking it's the Pirate Queen version of the Iron Fist, that has very much a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of fight vibe to it. But
Mhm.
this is everything that a lot of people thought and hoped Iron Fist was going to be.
Yeah.
The fighting, the choreography, so much better. It might end up being a better Chinese historical film than Mulan is.
Yeah. No, well, here's the thing about that. Saying that
I know that might
that
get you
this
going.
movie, I mean, saying that this movie is gonna be a better historical film than Mulan would be like saying that like Captain America, Winter Soldier was a better was the no that Captain America. No, I can't even say that. That was actually pretty good one.
So
It's it's
you can't sit there and tell me that all versions of the Captain America movies couldn't actually happen.
no. I mean, when you have possibly 3, AI guided space cruisers able to shoot off, these crazy freaking rail guns in like for like a 500-mile radius. Yeah, I don't think that would happen. Not yet.
Come on.
But okay, but like just calling
Anyways.
just saying that I don't have high hopes that this would be a good historical movie. I feel like no, I feel like this movie would be a good representation of the Asian community in a positive light. Granted, I will say this: when this first was announced back 2 years ago, 2019, pre-COVID, I didn't like the idea of it, just for the simple fact that I knew where Marvel was going with this. Right? They wanted to appease China. And
Yeah.
yeah, they wanted to appease the Chinese audience because they are they're going to be grown as at the time they're the second highest market of films and whatever economy in the world, right?
You
They
judge
they
the
might
success of a movie on
yeah,
2 levels:
yeah,
domestic US and China.
in China basically, right? And in the possibly in the next coming years they'll be number one. That's a big possibility. And I understand why they did that because after Mulan, blah blah blah, and they added on a full cast of just Asian creators and Asian actors and actresses and people, right? And cool, okay, I'm fine with that. But I understand what the game was. Now after post COVID, uh post actions and evils done to the Asian community because of COVID, I'm like, you know what? We need this movie as just an Asian community. Yeah, we need this movie because like we need people to see that Asians are great people too, are really good people. Just even Asian Americans, Asian people that aren't necessarily from China or anywhere from that area, like Asian people are people. We're good people. And so I feel like this is a necessary movie that needs to be made today and nowadays in today's scope and lens. Absolutely, I'm gonna rock this movie. I'm gonna watch the movie. Hopefully, if it does come out in theaters, I'll watch it. If it does come out, streaming, I'll freaking buy it. It's a movie that needs to be successful, just for the simple fact, just show people again, like, hey, Asian community, we matter too. That hey, we're not the motherfuckers. We're not your interpretation of the Ching Chong Ching Asian people that create that let loose this coronavirus. No, homie, we're not those people. We're everyday working people, Americans just like you. So we definitely need this movie. And on that topic, the movie to me, yeah, it's a mixture of, like I said before like we talked about before in our conversation earlier, it's a mixture of Hidden Dragon and Jackie Chan films, early Jackie Chan films, specifically
And
Police
actors and
Story.
actresses who have been in both of those films too.
Yeah, that's a crazy one too. And I'm hoping that Jackie Chan's somewhere in this movie, but I'm pretty sure he's not.
Oh my gosh, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be amazing. But at the same time, Jackie's pushing 70, and I don't want anyone to do anything with Jackie Chan. He's a national treasure, granted to China, but he's a national treasure to me in my heart because of just how much he was in my freaking childhood. But
And
yeah,
I
just
honestly think that Jackie Chan's a national treasure to anybody because I mean, I think that he revolutionized that genre and the
oh
person
yeah,
who does their own stunts.
yeah, absolutely, man. It's the feel that I got from this movie was very much early Jackie Chan, like, well, not early Jackie Chan. That's like the old school, like, old school Asian, Chinese cinema, Chinese dance theater type of kung fu movies,
Yeah,
like Drunken Master, the original Drunken Master, that's the one that came out in like 1990 something. That was an
yeah.
amazing one too. But like early Police Force or early Police Story 1 and 2, where it's a dance, yes, but like it's so brutal, it's so choreographed. It feels like it's a wide lens. You see the action, and it has that those hints of of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where it does kind of go into the fanciful. You see, these other stories where you see these other scenes where it does feature this Asian woman in this amazing garb, dance flying 20-30 feet in the air and taking on hordes and hordes of other warriors. And so it doesn't have that feel. It's in that feel of it is that feel of like mainland Chinese cinema where you're looking at Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon or Hero, and then you have the old school Hong Kong cinema, which we all grew up on, and it has that Jackie Chan vibe. It has somewhat of like Bruce Lee vibe, and yeah, I'm excited for it, man. I hope that Simu is ready for this role. Well, the man looks like he's ready for this role. I'm
Oh
so
yeah.
glad they got so many old school, like old school bona fide actors and actresses in this thing. Tony Luang, he was in a bunch of freaking films. He was in a bunch of he's a highly accredited Chinese actor. They got Aquafina in it. They got freaking what's her name, dude?
Michelle,
Yep,
yeah.
Michelle Yeoh. She's in that movie. And of course, people know her nowadays for Crazy Rich Asians. But yeah, like we said before, she was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
And
She
I
was
just and
the other
you
main.
pointed out, yeah, and you pointed out to me that she was a part of oh dadgummit, now I just forgot
She was
what
Bond
I was
girl.
gonna say.
She was a
She was a
Bond girl.
Bond girl, and I'm going, no, she was not. And I went back and
She
I
was.
forgot that Tomorrow Never Dies came out over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And at the time, Michelle Yao was only in her mid to late 30s.
Yeah.
Which by the way, if she's in her 50s, damn.
Hey man, yeah. There's a widely known stereotype in a couple cultures, but like how you say that black don't crack. Uh, the same thing goes with Asians, where like yeah, we look great until like we're 70, and then we look old after 70. Yeah.
I have some family members that did that were like they went from being 22 to 93.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's weird. It's weird.
Michelle Yao, is it Yao or Yao?
Michelle Yeoh. Yeah.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. I think she's an incredible actress who shows way different roles,
Yeah.
different range. She was a absolute, pardon my French, she was an absolute bitch in Crazy Rich Asians.
Of course she was.
I'm not going to name any names, but I have a family member who told me pretty accurate real life
Yeah.
character that she
Yeah.
plays.
She was the dragon.
She's in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She's
Mhm.
in multiple movies with Chow Yun Fat.
Oh
Um,
God, yes. Young
she's
is
a
back.
Bond girl.
Yep.
She, as far as I know, is the only one of Asian descent that is a Bond girl.
Yep.
Or at least that she was the first.
Yep.
So she goes from being. It's one thing to be an action star in your own culture,
Mhm.
because they'll just unfairly label you as like, oh, she does those Chinese films.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think in some cases those take more to do than to do a James Bond movie. But
Oh
she's
yeah.
was all over the place in Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah.
And then she turns around and she does Crazy Rich Asians.
Mhm.
She also, for those who don't know, this is not her first foray in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
She actually is one of a few characters officially in the Marvel Cinematic Universe who actually plays multiple roles. Taking a
Mm.
look at her IMDb,
Yep.
Michelle Yeoh will play in this movie in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. She will play Jiang Nan
Yep.
in this movie. She played before that. People are going, like, what did she play? She was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. She played Aletta Ogard, who
The
was an
original Guardians.
original Guardian. She was a part of Sylvester Stallone's crew
Yeah. Yeah.
of the original Guardians, alongside Stakar and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our second foray
Yeah.
into this. Now, I did see this in a kind of a did you know on the Shang-Chi page. It said here, it said um where'd it go? Trivia, where'd it go? I had it here and now it disappeared on me.
Uh,
But it's said that this has only happened twice. Um, I think it's major characters that has happened
yeah.
twice, because there's actually been a couple of uh
Yeah, I'm just looking at her
duplicates.
profile. Yeah, I'm also looking at her profile page right now, and she's getting a lot more work. Granted, like I would love for her to get this amount of work. Well, she has been solidly over the last 20 years, but I would love the idea that she's getting a lot more work when she was younger, when she was able to continue Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, when she's able to do a lot more action oriented films, because she was a freaking monster in her youth when she was doing earlier films. And she also was in a Jackie Chan movie, Police Story 3, where she was killing it too. And I would love to see that version of Michelle in today's age, where she's able, way more able, than a lot of the awesome actresses, of course, today. But again, there's a huge, huge difference between westernized action films and Western action films and Eastern and East Asian or Chinese, or in this case, Hong Kong cinema, because of just how, one, everybody in China that's in the action film genre knows how to fight, right? Not so much can be said in Western, in Hollywood. There's gonna be a couple that will learn how to fight, but like Michelle Yeoh, she's been trained since she was a child. Jackie Chan, he was in Eastern dance, like not Eastern, but Chinese dance, but like that easily transitioned into like fighting. And then we got Bruce Lee, who was trained. You had Jet Li that was trained at younger. He was a champion as well. So you have a lot of these fighters in in Hong Kong cinema. The fight thing looked good because they could fight. And I would love to see Michelle Yeoh taking that version of herself, as, let's say, in the last 20 years, let's see if she was the main lead for Ghost in the Shell, if she was the main lead in uh, just for the hell of it, Captain Marvel, if she was the main lead or had a role in just a bunch of other films, just, or if she, even though, no dissing Melissa, I forgot I forgot her other name, the one who was in the actress who was in Mission Possible.
Oh my gosh, I can't think of
Yeah,
it now.
yeah, I know what you're talking. She's another well-known actress, but I just forgot her name. Just that
Yeah.
her first name just escapes right now. Something Ing. But if Michelle Yeoh took her role, what kind of dynamic that would play out? And I'm just happy that she's getting more roles. Absolutely, she's a legend. She's a beast. I freaking loved her. She reminds me of my own mother in that film. Very much Dragon Queen mother who wants the best for her
Hey,
children and does not give a damn about anybody else.
there's only one dragon lady.
No, no, no. There's chick follows after Michelle. Let's get this right. I got love for Ate, but chick follows after Michelle.
Some cool things about this trailer, about this movie before we kind of I mean, there's not much we can talk about the trailer. Check it out. We did share it onto our Facebook page, facebook.com/PS Comics I Love You. This movie is not the first time, nor is it the second time they tried to make this movie. The
Mm-hmm.
movie was tried to be made by Stan Lee in the late 80s and had
Mm-hmm.
considered Brandon Lee as the lead of Shang-Chi.
Oh,
Um,
Brandon.
of course, it's always been said that Shang-Chi is based on Bruce Lee,
Mm-hmm.
and it would have been a fitting choice for Brandon to play the role. It was originally said that in the original slate of movies that Marvel Studios or Marvel Entertainment had signed with Paramount to do, of course, we don't know. that when Marvel Studios was created in 2006, 2007, and they created the blueprint for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they were going to do the Incredible Hulk, which was owned by Universal, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and then eventually do a Avengers movie. Those early films were produced, or were not produced, but were distributed by Paramount Pictures. It was said that back then, that one of the original movies to be optioned by Paramount to be made, among them was Iron Man, Captain America, blah blah blah, was also Black Panther and Shang Chi. They wanted to do a Shang Chi movie. Back says yeah, this movie was going to be made by Paramount Pictures before Disney bought Marvel. So, I don't know if the rights were owned by Paramount or whatnot, but I did read earlier today that this movie was on a slate of movies that be made back in the early or the late 2000 aughts, the like '08, between '08 and 2010, but it just wasn't ready yet. This will also mark the 25th movie, 25 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, of course, beginning with Iron Man 1 and the Incredible Hulk, and will bookend here in 2020 with Black Widow in July and Shang-Chi in September. We also, I believe, are going to get Spider-Man in December. So, what were some of the some of the highlights that you liked from the trailer?
Oh, just I got what you talked about when it said like it felt like Black Panther, the vibe of it.
Yeah.
I just uh, I like how normal the film kind of looked to me, like in the sense of like him living his life as an Asian American, right? Or that sense or that version of Asian American. Cool. It's gonna look a lot more like some of the films I either watched growing up, or a lot like Warriors, which is another Netflix which is a Netflix show that's out right now. Where like you are, let's for lack of a better term, you're with the triad. Your family's part of the triad, and you live life as a triad member or a triad child or whatever. And so like, all right, cool. So I recognize this. I recognize this role. But then the later parts, when they show Aquafina, love her, and then they showed him in the bus scene where he's fighting, wide camera angle, wide shoot, him kicking both guys, jumping in the air, kicking both guys. Like, that's Jackie. That's instant Jackie to me. That's instant Jackie. And him, they showed enough where they don't show him super powered yet. He's definitely he is definitely seen as possibly the strongest martial art fighter, hand-to-hand combatant in the MCU. I'm talking about like if he went head to head with Captain America, the only reason why Captain America would win is because he has superpowers.
And that's the thing is, people don't understand is Shang-Chi does not have quote unquote superpowers in the Marvel comic book universe. Like JR said, he is considered to be the greatest hand-to-hand combatant in the Marvel universe, and I think they're going to really portray him like that in this version. Now, like you said earlier, though, he summons his chi powers, which is different than the Iron Fist.
It's funny because like when he does some of those powers, he could like do stuff like he can hurt, let's say, Juggernaut, or he can hurt Deadpool. He can stop Deadpool from possibly rehealing, just stuff like that. Chi again is a very broad thing where it's hard to define specifically when it comes
it
from
is it's that
Asian.
it factor. It's like, how do you describe it? You can't.
So basically, if anything, that's gonna be one of his quote unquote outs when he's gonna be fighting against some of the more superpowered opponents in, hopefully, an Avengers film. His other forays with other Avengers or other people in the new batch of films coming out. So here's hoping.
There is and Dan Casey on Nerdist said that there is talk of he will obviously belong to the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe. Obviously, he works in San Francisco. That's where he's at now. And who knows? Is he going to cross paths with Scott Lang and the original Ant-Man? I can't think of his name now. Hank Pym. We don't know. It's a possibility. It's also a possibility that he could cross paths with Venom and stuff like that, because I know that being teased. that universe takes place on the West Coast, but we'll that's yet to be seen. But there's talk about doing a kung fu verse within the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we would see uh, a more focus on the Far East when it comes to Marvel characters.
Yeah.
Um, Kevin Feige recently was asked, "Are we going to see the Agents of Atlas?" And he says, "Just wait."
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Yeah.
that's why Agents of Atlas #1 from the War of the Realms run, just in the last 12 plus months, has gone way up.
Crazy.
So,
Yep. Yep.
but keep an eye on that for that, because we also know there's a character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that already exists
Yep.
that
Yeah.
is a
Nice.
part
Yep.
of the Agents of Atlas, and that is the one, the only
Several.
Agent Jimmy Woo.
Oh, Jimmy
So,
Woo. Okay. I talk about Amadeus Cho.
well, that too. So
Yeah.
there's a bunch of characters that are available.
Yeah.
There is also talk that one of the scenes in the trailer where Shang-Chi is in like what looks to be like a fighting tournament
Hmm.
takes place in a far off Eastern country island that we've already seen in recent memory. That, of course, of Madripoor.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, it will be wait to be seen. People were pointing out some of the set designs look very much like what they're using in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We do know that they were shot. Some of the stuff was shot on location in Atlanta,
Yeah.
as well as where they shot Falcon and Winter Soldier. Moving right along, we'll talk more about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, especially what this means. Who is the villain? Right now, we know that Wen Wu, played by Tony Chiu-Wai Luang.
Yeah. Tony Leung. Tony Leung. He's amazing. Yeah.
But it said that Wen Wu, that's the who, according to IMDb, that's the character he's playing.
Yeah.
Who is Shang-Chi's father?
Yep.
Of course, we mentioned before the original father of Shang-Chi in the comic books, which was been slightly retconned to be Wen Wu.
Yeah.
Was originally a character known as Fu Manchu. That character deemed to be offensive, but at the same time is not owned by Marvel Comics. It was optioned back in the Gold and Silver Age runs of Shang-Chi and the Kung. What do they call it? Was the Master? Oh, the Master of Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So it's talked that Wen Wu could be finally the Mandarin that was alluded to in All Hail the King, the one shot from about 10 plus years ago. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that as we move on to find out more about the creation of the Ten Rings, the terrorist group that has been terrorizing the background of the Marvel universe. And of course, it was because of the Ten Rings that we have an MCU. They were the ones that hijacked Mr. Stark.
Yep.
So, but anyways, that was not the only trailer that dropped today. JR, I know you're stoked for this one. It is Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. The trailer dropped. Has a release date for July. Is this a mini? Is this a series or is this a movie for Netflix?
It is a series
For Netflix.
It's gonna be interesting. I know that we're gonna just touch on it a little bit. It takes place in the U.S. again, but also in this particular one, it takes place in the U.S. and more recent iterations take place elsewhere, like in Mexico or another far off, distant land per se. But this one takes place in the U.S. at the White House. So
interesting.
Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. Because you have fan favorites, Leon Kennedy and I forgot her name. Oh no, forgot her name, dude. In Resident Evil 2, but she's in there. Again, sorry, people. COVID fog really kicking my ass. Still, freaking still. But
by the way, for those of you who don't know, my guy over here, show us the war wound.
Oh yeah, I got my second shot today.
There you go. Woo! Yeah, show us some skin, buddy. Got
Leon
the
Kennedy,
shot.
Yeah, I did. Leon Kennedy and oh my gosh, forgot her name. But yeah, anyways, those two characters are in Washington for a little bit, and they have been tasked to try to. Well, one, Leon is watching over the president because he's a badass, and two, we have yet to know of Claire. There you go, Claire Redfield's reasoning why she's in the White House. Well, so what happened is that a biological attack happened, and now the White House is surrounded by zombies. So they're trying to figure out why. trying to figure out who did it, and so it looks interesting. The CG looks decent, looks really good, and yeah, I cannot wait for July. I'm gonna buy I'm gonna buy a lot of other Resident Evil stuff. Hopefully to stream it soon. I can't say what I can't spoil the stuff that I got yet, but I'm gonna buy Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 3 remake and the new Resident Evil 7 that's coming out, or is it 8? Village, Resident Evil Village, and yeah, hopefully we'll get you guys more content on that eventually. But yeah, just I can't hold it anymore. I can't hold it anymore. The reason why I'm buying this stuff, guys, leading into our main topic for the day,
Yeah.
is our what did you bring to school day? Let's show off our stuff. The main reason why I say that is because your boy finally, come on, something shelf today. Your boy,
that's my drum roll, people.
Finally got a
PS. He has a PS5.
Yeah,
we've been talking about it since episode number 1.
Yeah, no, I've been talking for a minute, but yeah, this is the empty box is already out there, and yeah, man, I'm hopefully by that time when it comes out, I got Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, hopefully Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil Village, not Village, whatever the 8 one is, and we hopefully I get some streams up for you guys, man, and either streams or just
we are going to be my guy over here. We kind of got into the video game streaming a little bit. For those of you who don't know, if you check out the YouTube channel, if you're watching, if you're listening to us rather on the audio podcast version, of course, whether it be Apple Podcast, which by the way, I do want to mention real quick, as we're recording this, it is Monday, April 19th. Tomorrow, Tuesday the 20th, Apple is expected to announce a grip of new stuff, including Apple Podcast Plus. That's a rumor, and it's going to be a paid subscription tier to their podcast platform that's going to add new content. I don't know what that means for our podcast. I do know that earlier today, when again at the time of recording on the 19th, they stopped accepting submissions for the podcast platform. But as far as I know, we are still on the Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Anchor.fm, Spotify, and of course, it is now. It looks like it is refreshing. We are available on Amazon Music, so check it out. You can tell Alexa, because she's right here sitting next to me.
Yeah.
Hey, play. I wonder if it works. Hey, Alexa, play PS Comics I Love You. Let's see if it works. Yes, I love you, radio. No, that's not what I want. Alexa, shut up.
Great movie, by the way.
Stop.
Play podcast.
Alexa,
PS Comics I Love You.
Stop. You suck. That's how you treat my technology in my house. But no, we are available on Apple Music. I'm sorry, on Amazon Music. To check it out. If you've got, you can check it out on your devices. So yeah, congrats on the PS5. What I was going to talk about the streaming is your guy over here got himself a Elgato streaming card and did a little test run. I did leave it up. It's about a 40-minute video, unedited, uninterrupted, of me playing Animal Crossing. So you'll probably see more of that as the year goes on. Where I'm located in my office in recording studio, I do not have my PlayStation 4. I might move it. I'm not 100% sure yet because I only have the card here with the computer. I do want to kind of move it in there because I want to play some Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I am loving that card. And I know my guy over here, JR, is thinking about getting one when he upgrades his computer to a MacBook Pro or whatever.
Or everything.
Everything.
I still gotta save money. Man.
All right. So you got your first flex pull.
Yep.
I want to bust out. I want to stay with the Asian theme today. For two reasons. Number one, I love I actually love Asian culture. Not just Chinese or Japanese or Korean or Filipino, my guy, for a multitude of reasons. I love the artwork. I love the food. I love, believe it or not, the singing. Sometimes the terrible singing, which I know is a stereotype, but just go with me on this. And some of the characters that comic books have created. One of the reasons why I'm really, really excited about Shang Chi And I know that I said some negative things about it, saying that I didn't like it when I first saw it, but I'm actually genuinely excited about this. I'm excited about the Eternals. There are other Asian characters that are going to be in the Eternals
Yep.
and whatnot. But my first comic that I really, really like the cover for, this is I don't know who the artist is, but I really, really like this book. It is Silk Volume 3, number 1. Here we go, right
Oh,
there. There we
okay.
go. I love it.
Yeah.
A couple of my selections are actually Silk books. This, I believe, um, I don't think this is the Peach Momoko cover, but I thought this was kind of a cool cover.
No, that's not Pishimoko. That's someone else.
But
I
it's
hope
a
it's a
really, really neat.
yeah.
I like it. To me, it kind of reminded me of like a kid's watercolor painting.
Mhm.
And I really like watercolor. I actually have some David Mack artwork on in my office right now,
Yeah.
and I know that's a little bit more than kids comic book artwork. But and then the last Silk book that I have, this is a Jen Bartel. Jen Bartel is doing. I'm going to have more Jen Bartel books that she's doing, and it's the Women's History Month variant. Um,
Oh yeah.
this is a I know that this has gotten some negative feedback because they say, oh, it's so stereotypical. Um, but I like it. It's Cindy Moon, right? Cindy Moon, right?
Yeah.
Uh, as kind of like out of silk costume, uh kind of modern, kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what Cindy Moon's a
It's
Japanese,
Korean.
no, Korean.
She's Korean. Yeah.
So it's got this, and again, I know I'd rather be more specific to the culture than just going blanket. It's an Asian garb.
Mhm.
But I like it. It's really cool, but it has like a Spider-Man kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Spiders all over the place. And I really enjoy. I've always been a big fan of Jen's work.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my lead off for you. What else you got? But I know he kind of hit the grand slam with the PS5 out of the box.
I apologize, my friend.
That's all good because
No, no, no,
I'm
no, no,
not,
not from that. I apologize from this
bro.
because
Hit me
I
with it.
too have the silk cover, but the Virgin variant.
Oh, the Virgin variant.
It is a Ji
Great.
Lee
Oh, what
variant.
is it? Ji Hung Lee. Okay. I like his work.
Yeah.
Really, really kind of underrated. I know he gets kind of lost in the art germ, David Chu kind
Yeah.
of landscape, but
Yeah.
I think that our
Mhm.
brethren from the Far East are very much
Yeah.
our brothers and sisters from the Far East are really starting to kind of come into their own and really kind of take over because there are phenomenal
Oh,
artists.
yeah. Absolutely.
Um,
I freaking agree, man. Just from that, like they're coming up, man. Like there's been definitely
well, you
like
look at,
been more like just a claim of like wanting to have more of these artists out there, and like yeah, absolutely.
but look at how many
um,
great artists come from Asian communities. I mean, you look at
yeah,
a lot of cartoons
yeah,
that we know. I mean, not just anime, but a lot of cartoons are
yeah,
drawn uh,
yeah,
in China or mostly probably Japan
yeah.
and Korea. Um, not so much in China because for the obvious reasons. But
Mhm.
a little bit more.
Yeah. I
Government,
mean,
the government's kind of in control over there.
yeah, that like yeah. So there's that.
There's that
There's
fact.
some things. My other actually, I'm keeping with the spider, silk and Spider Woman side. I do have this variant, Spider Woman, a
What we
one for
got there?
25. It's one for 25. The Besh cover. She is actually a new artist coming out. She isn't Asian, the artist, but she. Oh my gosh! If I knew influences, man, this is definitely influenced by a lot of Asian media, a lot of Asian culture, and just her writing and art style is just amazing. She's another artist that's coming up. She's coming up big. She's coming up huge, and so that's it for now for me. Just wait for more stuff. What else you got, my friend?
Well, I'm sticking with what got me to the dance. I'm sticking with the Asian theme. Believe this. I don't know if this is a Peach Momoko or not. I don't see her traditional signature on here, but
I have to check for you.
We got the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers number 44 legacy cover, 744, the variant cover with She-Hulk on the front.
That is a
Now,
Momoka.
That is a Momoko. Now, of course, you're thinking, well, look, Kevin, she's red. It's because the Hulk is green and it's a green screen.
Yeah.
So bad choice of cover for now. These next two, JR, are not new covers. These are not new books, but I did grab these because they were books that I wanted, and this next one especially. And forgive me, we dare not speak his name, the writer on this book.
Okay.
This is the Astonishing X-Men number 6,
Wow.
first appearance of Abigail Brand. This is a I don't know. This is another one where just an iconic cover, and this is of course Colossus
Mhm.
and Kitty Pryde. It is a Joss Whedon book. A great run. Say what you want. We all have decided over the last couple of weeks he's a dickhead.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away the fact that he's a damn good comic book writer. He's just an asshole. But I've always wanted that cover. I forgive me for not knowing the artist's name, but I do know this artist because I've met the man. I have broken bread with this man. I have gotten drunk with this man. This is Deadpool number 13. It is a variant cover from a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it is Deadpool number 13, Legacy number 313, and it features Vision and the Scarlet Witch. And this is a highly regarded book.
You're the one that got that.
I did. I grabbed it off the shelf and got it. I put it in my pull list, and then I missed a week and I accidentally bought it before I wanted to. And I said, what the hell? It was a light week. So actually most of my money went to buying that book and the Astonishing X-Men. But for those who don't know who that is, I completely just forgot his name. And I'm an idiot because that name was
Mark. Mark.
Is it Mark?
No, no, wait, you got drunk with that's Eddie. That's an Eddie Grant cover.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Damn it. Show me your next one. I'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, you figure it out. Okay. So going back to my homeboy, I gotta remember all the names for my artists real quick because this particular one is this one's up and comer. This one right here. The next one. This is a Something's Killing Children. There's a glare in my screen. I don't like it. But yeah, there you go. Something's Killing Children. Number 15, a Black Cape Comics exclusive, and they've been specifically Black Cape Comics. They've been getting a lot of exclusive variants for Something Killing brand from a Zoo Orzu version cover. This one's already going hot, man. This one's for me. I'm gonna send this in, and it's a beautiful looking cover. I love the design. I love the look. It's very I forgot his name. I'm forgetting a lot of artist's name right now. I don't know why. What our boy who makes the style of art print.
Oh my gosh, I can't think of a name.
I know, right? I don't know what the heck is going on. But
we're both really bad with names today.
I know, dude. It's kind of disheartening and kind of saddening. But the artists who made Jessica Jones covers and variants.
David Mack.
David Mack. Yeah, it's very much in the vein of David Mack.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so going back, I got the version variant of that same cover you got from Peach Momoko. The 1 for 100.
Nice.
Variant. What else I get? And just kind of sticking with Spider-Man again. Since I got my PS5, I got the Spider-Man.
Oh, you lucky bastard! I still have not played the game. I know that if I buy the PS4 version, you get the
upgrade.
You get the free upgrade to PS5.
Yeah.
I just have not broken down and gotten it yet. And I'm still trying to figure out who the hell that artist was. It's gonna bug me. It's not Riley Brown. I meant Riley Brown though.
Just try Eddie Granoff, bro. I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's Adi Granoff is the cover. Yeah. I mistake it for somebody else because I thought that he did the cover for it. I got drunk with in Vegas.
The people we got drunk in Vegas with. Are you talking about Mirko?
What is it?
I forgot his last name.
Not Ryan Kincaid. It was the same night as Ryan Kincaid.
Oh yeah. He was also I think it was during Chick's birthday. You guys were in a huge a huge what do you call it? A huge video chat call together, right? He was there
It
too.
could have possibly, but I did not take part in the.
Anyways, going on to
It'll come to me.
yeah, going
I
on
have
to
his
some
I have
more.
his artwork here somewhere. You know what? Damn
Yeah.
it! Hold on, I got it.
Okay. Yeah,
Continue.
I got it. Just going to more of stuff CGC stuff I got in. I just got these in recently. Another 9.8 Venom 3. I think it's like my third one or fourth one. Yeah, Venom 3. 9.8. First null. And I liked it so much. I got the second one back. I got two Venom 3 9.8. Most likely these are going on eBay. Trying to sell them for a decent price. I might keep one. I think I have one more coming in. And that's a great one.
This guy, DNA.
Who?
This guy,
Oh,
DNA.
yeah.
David. No. Yeah, David Nakayama.
Take him. You drunk with Nakayama?
I think it's the guy that did that cover.
With Nakayama? Really? I saw pictures of it. But anyways, yeah. I was showing our audience that I have two Venom 3s, 9.8. Just came back from CGC. Third one, I don't know if I showed this shit actually. A Marvel Actions Avenger 9. A 1 out of 10 print Marvel IDW publishing retail and center variant. These are going crazy right now, so it's nice to have a 9.8 of this baby. First Yellow Hulk. First appearance. Yeah, first appearance of Yellow Hulk in cameo. And the big one for me, boom, America Chavez, number 8, the variant cover from a Jen Bartel cover. So
David Nakayama. That's it. Yeah, it was David. I was right. David Nakayama.
Drunk with Nakayama?
Oh my gosh, dude. One of the greatest nights ever. And I've met Chris Claremont. I've had a chance to meet George Perez. But we had dinner at the Luxor with David Nakayama and Ryan Kincaid in Las Vegas during a Amazing Con back in 2019. It was fantastic. David did not stay the whole night. He had to take, I think he was there with his family, so he had to go back to the hotel. But we ended up getting just absolutely plastered in the sports bar with Ryan Kincaid. And oops, I told Ryan I wouldn't tell that story. Now he's going to boot me from Facebook. But moving right along, yeah, I do have that. I think I have somewhere. I have more of his artwork. I thought I had the. I have somewhere. I think I have the the Deadpool cover of Deadpool riding a unicorn pony or something like that, or a stuffed animal. But this is one of my favorite Gwenpool covers.
Yeah. That's the Gwen.
That was during the Gwen crossovers.
Oh, no, not the Gwen covers. The
Mary Jane
covers. Yeah.
Mary Jane covers back in 2017. Yeah. And it was funny. So I get this print, right?
Yeah.
And I'm carrying it through Amazing Con. And oh, by the way, on the other side is my signed Shazam poster. Nice. Which does have Zachary Levi cover, which I man crushed over. I told him that they need to bring Chuck back, and he agreed. Yeah. And I said, "What's holding you back?" And he looked at his castmates with Shazam, and he goes, "They pay me a lot more money to do one film a year instead of doing 21 episodes of a TV show." So, okay, I get that. But I'm carrying this through the convention center in Las Vegas, and someone points out the obvious. Dude, her boobs are way too big. And I went, "Have you ever seen J. Scott Campbell?" And they wanted to bash on David's rendition of Mary Jane. And I said, "Has anyone ever seen J. Scott Campbell's version of Mary Jane? It's the quintessential." And
has anyone ever seen like any version of Mary Jane?
Has anyone ever seen any comic book female ever created, period? And I will show you Emma Frost here in just a little bit. Yeah. But this was a cool cover because I really enjoy the character. she didn't get enough credit in the original Suicide Squad. I hope she gets another crack at a live action movie, and that is Katana, done by our good buddy David Chu. This is coming from Batman Urban Legends #2 that came out this past week. Really cool, sticking with the David Chu style of kind of keeping with the side angle picture. So I really like that one. Can't go wrong with this guy. He is the arguably one of the highest sought after artists in the last few years, and that is Joshua motherfucking Middleton. And this is Wonder Woman #771 that came out this past week. It is the variant cover. Easily one of the best covers to come out in recent memory. And again, if you're listening to us on the podcast audio version, we highly recommend jumping over to their YouTube channel to search out Voice of Reason 23 on YouTube, or search PS Comics. I love you. And while JR continues to fiddle with things in his pull list, this is the second printing of Demon Days X-Men #1, written and created by Peach Momoko. I don't know why. I really, really enjoyed the second cover.
I do too.
Such a good book.
Yeah.
I haven't even read it yet.
Yeah.
I'm a little behind. I was organizing my books, and I got to put some of the I read them digitally, so I got to put them into my Marvel account and get my iPad out. I do have another Peach Momoko special. This is Blade Runner Origins #1. This is the sketch variant, Virgin sketch variant.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful cover.
Yeah.
Very few artists I will go after a sketch variant. Art Germ and J. Scott Campbell is the other one. One of the original books that got me into collecting. I would go and buy my pull list. I would quote collect comics on a weekly basis. But the first time I ever met JR and really got to know him is when he introduced me into Stanley Lau and introduced me to Art Germ. And I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know that's who I was being introduced to. And that, of course, was Spider-Man Renew Your Vows #1. And it was the Art Germ, but it wasn't the main cover. It wasn't the sketch variant. It was the middle variant.
Sepia?
I think it was the sepia. Yeah. But it's arguably one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I remember I went all over the place trying to find it because I didn't know to look up Art Germ. So I'd go on eBay and type in like Spider-Man wedding dress Mary Jane cover. And then thankfully that came up amongst others that I have also collected over the years. But that one I immediately saw and got, and then it took me buying the one that JR had, the middle one, the sepia cover, for the lack of a better term. And then I eventually got the full color, and then I think I did eventually get the sketch. I actually have multiple sketch variants.
Which sadly I don't have that cover anymore. I think I traded it. So yeah. But a funny thing, I just did a recent unboxing just right now, and not only do I have one of this variant, but now I have two. So that's my whole thing. Yeah, sorry. I was trying to look for more stuff, man, but like at the same time, like there's more stuff in my pool. You know, as of recent weeks, I have been getting into like these 1 for 10 variants from Marvel Action. From Marvel Action, these ones are kind of the sleeper variants to get, because these ones, they're the ones that like might go crazy in like 3 or 4 years, where because they're so quote unquote low print because no one bought it. It's big because no one bought it, and so I've been coming with that one. This more of my pull. I've gotten to this particular one, Geiger. This is a Image Comics, or is it Image?
Yeah. Will someone tell Chick how to properly pronounce that name, because she was calling it something else. Geiger.
Yeah.
And I showed the cover, and I'm like, it's Geiger, like a Geiger counter for searching out radioactive material.
Yeah.
And I was just I was yelling at my phone screen. It's Geiger. I'm like walking through my neighborhood on my afternoon walk, and I was listening to her. It's Geiger. Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious. That's just
I can say this because JR is one of my closest friends. His sister is one of my closest friends. And Chick is one of my closest friends, as well as Jovel. So yes, I named four Asians, and I am related to Japanese cousins.
Yeah.
I swear sometimes Chick is so Asian. She like says things so wrong.
You okay? So let me just. You are so wrong yet so right.
It's wrong for me to say it,
Yeah,
but
no, no,
JR
no.
knows what I mean because
Yeah,
chick, I love you right here. Nothing
yeah,
but love.
yeah, absolutely.
And
And
she'll be the first to admit it.
yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing for those listening in, please, please, this is a regional thing. We know this person, wholeheartedly. We know her story and she knows ours. And so we can say this about her because she says much worse about us.
Now,
Much worse. But
there
yeah,
is
yeah,
there is
chick.
a book.
Yeah.
I have to tell the story. The secret's out. Chick knows about it.
Okay.
Supposedly, this book exists. Going back to the summer of 2019. We're in Vegas. We know that Chick has a big birthday coming up. She was turning 19 again.
Yeah.
And what is it, 18?
Somewhere between 18 and 21.
Somewhere, yeah, that's what she says. So we all teamed up, all the people that were in Vegas. Unfortunately, JR at the last minute had to pull out. And the group that was there, Atner, JR's sister Candace, my wife Danielle, Sarah, Edwin, the usual crew, our running crew. We came up. We needed to do something to tribute Chick. Now, without getting into too much detail, there is a picture of our illustrious friend Chick that was taken for her husband. Guys, everyone get your mind out of the gutter. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but yeah.
So we come up with this idea that we want Chick to be on a cover, on a comic book cover. We want her to be drawn by a major artist and to be immortalized on a comic book cover. Our good friend Ryan Kincaid agreed to do the artwork, to do the commission. Ryan is top notch. Ryan is a dude you go to bat for. He'll go to bat for you, and then if need be, he will use that bat to defend you in a not so nice way.
He's awesome. He's
just awesome.
Yeah. If you go to any cons, please support him, guys. Please, freaking awesome.
I will. Anytime Ryan Kincaid is at a con, please go support him. And his allegiance can be bought in a bottle. You get him drunk, he will draw. He is the king of drink and draw. Anyways, this is a situation that we got him in a drink and draw. So we want to do a tribute to Chick. We show Ryan this photo of Chick, and we told Ryan about her nickname. Now, again, we just mentioned, and it's okay because JR has given us the blessing to use this nickname, she is referred to as the Dragon Lady because sometimes she can be our comic book store overbearing mother. But at the same time, she could be like Drax and everything goes over her head. But nonetheless, she does have this nickname of being the Dragon Lady because she could get uber defensive about her family. So I said, Ryan, I want you to draw her in this relatively intimate outfit, but I want you to blend in and I want her to become a dragon. And Ryan's like, done. I thought you had something difficult for me. So allegedly, this is now going on almost 2.5 years, almost 2 years since this commission was issued. Supposedly it's done. It is somewhere in the state of Colorado. It is somewhere amongst Ryan Kincaid's massive comic book collection, since the Kincaid family has recently moved. He has told us that once he finds it, he will send it to Chick. How much this commission is going to cost, I have no idea. I hope it doesn't cost me anything because
I'll go happy with you.
Yeah. And if it's half as good as he says it is, and mind you, I haven't even seen a picture of it, I may ask him to do a second. But whenever we do get this book in our hands, we will have to share it here. And I know that Ryan Kincaid is a guest that we have attempted to get on the show. It's just with him moving and with COVID and everything, it's been a little difficult to get Ryan to come on the show. So,
He-
but we
he's
will get Ryan. He's agreed in principle
he's
to
a
do the
great
show.
show. Yeah, just going kind of circling back to the chick, the Ate, I'm Filipino. She's Filipino as well, and so the Tagalog form of uh, we have an honorics, I think it's called, like honor system type of thing. For those who we see as an older woman specifically, that are older than us, and we have respect for. We call her Ate in Tagalog, and so I call her Ate. And when I saw this picture of Ate, I'm like, damn, in the sense of like, I'm like, damn, in the sense of like, she had that courage to do that and then show people. Because it's specifically, I don't know if this goes for all Filipinos, but not for me. Like when I bond with you and you're Filipino, you're family to me. And so seeing that picture, I'm like, damn, Ate, you let that loose, right? You got other people, and of course, Kuya, which is the male version of Ate for Javel. You're like, yeah, it's my wife. What up? Have you seen pictures of
And
Javel when he was competing in bodybuilding, right? He was in a competition. He looked great as well, and so I'm like, yeah,
he's
okay, it
Maui.
makes sense.
He's Maui to
Yeah,
me.
it makes
I
sense.
call him, and he appreciates it, but
Yeah,
um, you call him Q. I've always called him Maui because
yeah.
he is half Filipino, half
Why?
Hawaiian.
Yep.
So he kind of has that rock look to him, and where it's just like he's
Yeah,
yoked from head to toe, but he's
yeah,
kind of got that that I call it more the triangle body, or he's all traps and chest, and
yeah,
then he kind of goes down to like small waist and legs.
yeah, yeah,
He looks
yeah,
like Maui. He looks
yeah,
like Maui from Moana.
yeah.
And
That's good interpretation. Yeah,
so what's that?
yeah, that's good. That's a good thing. Yeah, both of them. I will say both of them. They have competed in bodybuilding, and so they've
Oh yeah,
both been in competitions. They
both of
look
them will whoop your ass.
phenomenal. Yeah,
Both will whoop your ass.
yeah, both will.
Going back
Absolutely.
to Jen Bartel, speaking of phenomenal shape, Emma Frost has always been a, for lack of better terms, a sexy woman. I know it's ink on paper, it's a cartoon, Kevin. Like, stop it. But I'm like, but even in her portrayal on screen, being played by January Jones, of course, of Mad Men fame, it was a perfect casting for Emma Frost. But this was a Jen Bartel cover. I think it's a great cover. Both versions, both the Marvel Tag version of Emma Frost and the Jen Bartel cover art, and of course the sparkly sequins. Great cover.
Oh yeah, it's been said multiple times that the Emma Frost was supposed to be the more I guess a sexually promiscuous version or the sexually empowered version of Jean Grey, and so that's the reason why she was in it. So it's yeah, Emma Frost has always been shown has always been written and shown to be way more uh prominent in her
Provocative.
feminine figures.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll say that. And so
Another great Jen Bartel cover, of course, is from the Women's History Month.
yep.
Is the Black Cat Felicia Hardy. The
Mm,
reason I like this was it's very 80s slash early 90s look to it, so it kind of spoke to me as a child of the 90s. This is the cover of Black Cat number 4 legacy cover, um legacy 16 for Black Cat. Of course, J. Scott Campbell did the run a couple of years ago, and Jen just does. I love Jen's work because she can take a powerful woman and make her sexy as all hell, and still make her a powerful. Make sure her power comes out. And Felicia Hardy and Emma Frost are very two powerful characters in their own right, and it's actually one of the reasons why I really enjoyed um, playing the expanded universe of the Spider-Man game, was because Black Cat came out in that expansion set of
yeah.
game. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
I
Couple more.
Yeah, I will apologize for me getting up and out of my seat. I've been trying to look for bag and boards actually.
which
So
are been which are hard to come by right now. By the way,
yeah,
if you are looking for bag and boards, bear with our local stores with the ever changing landscape of distribution. Diamond is not only a distributor for comic books, but comic book supplies.
yeah.
And it's become increasingly difficult because of the production
Mhm.
and a lot of collecting is being done. So a lot of collectors, I know that on Amazon, they were flying. I had actually ended up, and I intentionally sought out to get golden golden age book
Yeah,
bag and boards because I wanted to see if those would work for the now infamous Detective Comics 1027,
oh
which
yeah,
were very unusually big.
yeah.
And of course, no one has been able to find a perfectly fit
It's
book
it
for the
is
Ronin
it's
books either.
yeah, it's been difficult to difficult to say the least. With just one, it's COVID, and two, just the constantly growing market of collectors, and yeah. So I will apologize again in advance for just I'm just trying to find the I bought like I said a bag of boards from Comic Asylum. I can't find it right now, and so I'm trying to
Well,
like
this is a cool cover. This is the
oh yeah,
30th
I was
anniversary
there.
of the. What's up?
No, no, I just I was continued. I was just taking my spiel. Yeah.
This is the 30th anniversary cover of the Merc with the Mouth. This is cover one of the 30th anniversary of Deadpool. It features the Hulk, Silver Surfer, Spider Man, the Watcher Watu, the Juggernaut, Colossus, Iron Man, Captain America. I can't see who that is. Behind, they got the Punisher, Wolverine, Venom, Taskmaster, Cable, and of course the big bad himself, Thanos, in this. But Thanos is missing something that Thanos usually has, and that is the Infinity Gauntlet. Because our good buddy Wade motherfucking Wilson, has the Infinity Gauntlet. If there is one person in comic book Earth that you do not want to be in possession of the Infinity Gauntlet, it would be Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool. And I've always said that beyond Thanos himself, the two people on comic book Earth, no matter what Earth you're on, the two characters you probably do not want to be in possession of the Infinity Gauntlet is Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, and of course Gwendolyn Poole, aka Gwenpool, because neither one of them would take it seriously. But I think it's funny that they did do this cover, and this cover is done by I don't know. Let me. Well, better safe than sorry. Let's open her up and find out who did the cover art because I don't have this in my
Oh,
CLZ
so,
yet.
show me the cover real quick. Let me see. I can probably figure it out.
It's the anniversary issue. I'm flipping through the books.
As he does that, I will continue to show you my stuff, guys. I got recently one that came out.
There we go. It's this one, Jer.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Oh, the no sword
cover
cover in the back. Oh snap!
is this
That's
Ed
where that came from.
McGuinness and Chris Sotomayor?
I think
I
so.
think so.
That's where that cover was. I was looking for that specific cover. It wasn't a cover. It was the back. Okay, because the back is
This is cover A though. This is cover A.
yeah. The bolt the null back cover is the one that I was looking for, and I know that was the back cover. But yeah, going on to some of my stuff, guys. More sticking more into the Peach Momoko vibe. Yojimbo, Usagi Yojimbo came out. Peach Momoko. Oh yeah, she has always drawn Usagi Yojimbo in like her Instagram or just offhand. And I'm glad that she's now doing a lot more stuff for the actual books. That's cool. I've also gotten Yoshitaki Yamaki Yoshitaki variant from Harley Quinn. And this, for those who know this artist, he is the critically acclaimed and famed artist for all the Final Fantasy games. And so,
Oh, very cool.
yeah, I also
Always,
got, yeah, I also picked up the one per store lunar variant cover.
of course you
I
did.
got, yeah, I got this one from a funny story. I picked this up online, right? I'm on eBay, and then the person who sold it on eBay was actually the owner of Interstellar. And
Ah,
so I picked up Interstellar. So the first time I saw him, I'm like, hey man, I'm the guy. I'm local, so cool. So yeah, that was a cool thing. Met the guy. He's cool. I bought more stuff from there, and it looks snazzy. I will say the place looks snazzy. So.
He does. I've seen pictures on Instagram and of him really um, sprucing up the place. You know, Adrian tried his best to um, you know, keep it up to date, but
Yeah, it looks more like a classic comic book store. I will say that. Adrian's interpretation of or just his comic book store. Most of his, most if not all of his income came from the comic book store. So
yeah.
yeah, you definitely see a person who has a lot, who has been collecting a lot, and as well as like garner a lot more cash throughout his years. It looks like a classic comic book store. I will say that.
Yeah. A couple more books. This last one before the big reveal for me, and then we'll start to wrap things up. This is such a typical Gwenpool cover. This is, of course, coming from Modoc Head Games #3. This is I believe this is this is the main version. This is the main cover. Gwenpool making her return to print form after being out of print for a couple of years. But this is Modoc Head Games #3, and of course you see Gwenpool there, using a kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a big mixer bowl spinner on Modoc's head. Of course, in series #1 of Gwenpool, she of course kills Modoc. And then when Modoc returns to the Marvel Universe via this Head Games run, of course, which is the predecessor to the Patton Oswalt created cartoon that will be headed to, I believe, Hulu. Um, they they hire Gwenpool to kill that which she's killed already. So check it out. It's actually really well written. That's another great book. And again, I know that a lot of people have backfired. I know there's a lot of people on both sides of the political aisle of cancel culture have tried to say screw Marvel, screw Patton Oswalt because he's an outspoken liberal. Um, it's a good book. You know, you don't have to agree with the guy on his geopolitical
Meetings. Yeah.
goings on, but he's a good writer and he's having a lot of fun with this book. And you know, when you have a guy who is a major actor, maybe he's not an A-lister, but he's a big name in the movie industry. When he's a huge comic book nerd and a advocate for comic books,
yeah, you want him on your.
I got more of the power for the world.
Yeah, more power.
Now, wrapping things up. What's up? You got some more?
You want to show your? Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna show like just my last batch of things, and we just end up on your stuff.
All right. Well, I'll end up on the last one. We'll leave mine as the walk off, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
What you got for us, JR?
I got a couple things, man. Just I was trying to find this book, man. I guess I freaking misplaced it somewhere, so I gotta look back through my stuff. But I'm pretty sure I showed this one again. But again, I'm going to show this again. I said like again like 4 times already.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Gwen, I think this is 25, 24, the Campbell exclusive, the Gwenum variant. So that's the big one again. I'm gonna throw it in. I'm going to turn that into CGC eventually. Let's go with this one. I'm a huge fan of Adam Hughes. So the Black Cat, uh 4, yeah, Marvel, the 4th one that came out too. Big fan. I think it's my second cover of Justice League of America or Justice Society of America. This is Alex Ross, Power Girl. And the big one, I can't believe I actually bought this cover way back when, but I think you'll enjoy this one, my friend. Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So
great cover.
That's
all you got for now?
That's all I got for now, guys. I recently has cleaned up my my space, and so I had a bunch of comic books here. They're all, as you can see, there's a huge mess behind me on the left, and there's a huge mess on the right. That's me just trying to clean my shit. And so it's a bit of a mess. So yeah.
Well, I will say this. You know, I've done a great job, you know, just in the last year. By the way, thank you guys so much for supporting the podcast and continue to do so. And like I said, as we head towards that 100 follower milestone, where we can finally give away those books. JR's recording it in his bedroom.
Yeah,
you can see there.
Yeah.
I started off by recording it in my bedroom.
I'm doing laundry. I'm doing laundry, guys. So that's the reason why this is out there. My clothes are here. I'm doing laundry.
I'm now in my office here. I'll show you real quick. This is where we've come just in the last year, and some of you guys have allowed us to do this. And so I just wanted to give some special thanks. So there's a little peek behind the curtain. Yeah, just I'm sitting literally behind, right behind me is this huge green screen that goes all the way around this room. And like I said, if you pull back the curtain, so to speak, it's actually my kids' playroom with a bunch of junk that needs to be cleaned up. But thank you so much, guys, for being a supporter. One of the things that I want to accomplish with this podcast too, and is, my wife and I are thinking of converting part of our garage to a gym and other things. And I want to go in there and with a little bit more wide open space to do more unboxings with you guys. And I know I can get some of it done here. I know I want to get some camera set up to do an unboxing, kind of like a shot down kind of camera. But I want to do some long box dives with you guys. So that's something we're going to be working on and whatnot. So anyways, one of the things I enjoy, one of the things I miss about doing Comic-Con is flipping through long boxes and finding some diamonds in the rough. Every once in a while, you're going to find some great books that are just sitting in the long box, and the owner didn't know what he had there. And I found, that's where I found at Amazing Con, I found a first appearance of Shuri as Black Panther, the wedding book of Black Panther and Aurora Monroe. I found a signed Michael Turner book. I found a volume 1, issue number 4 and issue number 6 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So you can find a bunch of stuff in long boxes. But one of the books I've been trying to find, Uncanny X-Men number 141 was a book I was really trying to find. I found it. I wanted a first print of Superman number 75. Found it, and I also got the original writer and artist to sign it. So I've kind of checked off some lists. I literally tripped over myself and got a Amazing Spider-Man number 300 and an Amazing Spider-Man number 129, I think it is, which is still not back from CGC, which is, of course, his first appearance of the Punisher. But there was a cover that I want. I love cover artwork. That's why JR and I do these kind of podcasts. We love cover artists. And the book that I have here is I think it's a Bob Layton cover. And some may not know who that is, but it's an absolute iconic cover. It is the last issue of a series. It's Iron Man number 128. I got this at Desert Oasis Comics. Sid had literally put it up about 4 or 5 days before I bought it. It is part 9 of the Demon in a Bottle. Now, JR mentioned that this is the Tony Stark that a lot of people don't know. This is not the fun-loving. This is not the playboy, philanthropist, billionaire, playboy, whatever. I know I said playboy twice, but that's the way he is. This is an artist. This is an engineer who is dealing with a lot of shit, a lot of issues, daddy issues. He's dealing with, he has no superpowers. He is nothing. He is no different than Batman. He's no different than Bruce Wayne. His superpower is he's a billionaire. He can build his own suit. And this is also too, Jared, if I'm not mistaken, this is back in the day when it was assumed that Iron Man was Tony Stark's bodyguard. I think there was still the separation of the secret identity. And this cover says so much. It talks about his dealings with substance abuse, but it also talks about his dealings with his come to Jesus moment, where he's dealing with his own immortality because he is nothing more than a human in a suit that he created. This is again Iron Man number 128. This is the bookend of Demon in a Bottle. It is not a sexy cover, but this is Tony Stark, that a lot of people don't know. And we mentioned a couple of weeks ago on this very podcast that RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., who is a recovering alcoholic, wanted to do this storyline badly.
Yeah.
And people will say that it was the opposite, that Marvel wanted to do it, but RDJ said it was too close to home. No, RDJ wanted to do it because it was so close to home. And it is such a pivotal storyline in the Marvel Pantheos because Pantheon, whatever it's called, I don't know that word.
Yeah.
The Marvel legacy, because it talks about what Jim Lee, or not Jim Lee, what Stan Lee talked about for years. What made Peter Parker so relatable. He was a kid who was, 1 minute he's trying to web up Dr. Octopus, the next thing he's over there trying to take a trigonometry test. The next minute he's trying to wrap up Electro, the next moment he's trying to take Mary Jane to the prom. This shows Tony Stark's battle with his demons, and that he's human, that he's flawed. They hinted at it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Phase 1. They dealt with Thor. Thor's had issues with not faith, but self-worth. And it's
Thor. Yeah, it's the without getting too much in a tangent, guys. It is one of the covers. No. It is definitely one of the covers you for a long time fan, for definitely if you really have been collecting comic books and know the worth and know the context of which that comic book is definitely one to get.
And it's not in bad shape either.
Yeah, it's in recent years has gone up tremendously as well, just from a collecting standpoint. But like overall, man, just you talking about one of the pivotal points where you can really look to and say, okay, this is where the character of Iron Man came from. That was one of the books, right? The second one, of course, is RDJ's version of Iron Man, because prior to RDJ, that was Iron Man. That was Tony Stark for a very, very, very long time, even in the comics. And so that's we don't know. It's the same thing with with Peter Parker. Who can we identify as Peter Parker when he lost Uncle Ben? That is who Spider-Man is. That's who he is. When can we identify who Batman was? Some people will say that. Some people will say when he lost his parents. Well, that was during Batman Year One.
Yeah,
that is when we see who Batman the person, who Bruce Wayne the person is outside of the cowl. And so that book specifically was just my buddy here, he definitely pulled that out and tried to flexed on me. I'm like, all right, man, I see you.
But
it's a good cover.
It is because it's something that I've always wanted. It was a
personal grab.
It was a personal grab, and it was funny was I almost forgot about it. Yeah. And I cannot without giving away too many trade secrets, but I cannot express how important it is, guys, when you're going through a comic book store, especially one that's ran by a guy like Sid, where you look at the guy and you listen to him and this guy's got some shit.
Yeah,
he has got some damn good books. Let me tell you something about Sid that breaks my heart. Sid, at one point in his life, had not one but two holy grails. And we're talking about the Holy of Holies. He had, at one point in his illustrious career as a comic book collector, the only Action Comics #1.
Damn.
And to follow that up, he had Detective 27. And they got destroyed. Exactly. The look on my man's face of just like someone just punched him in the gut.
Yeah.
And the balls at the same time. It's like the line from the Endgame. He's like, "You kicked me the first time, and he got the one, and then he hit me the second time. You got them both. You got them both." When Sid told me that story, and I won't go into too much detail, it's his story to tell. But when he got it, when he told me, I asked him point blank, I said, "Sid, I know you probably didn't, but what's the closest you got to an Action Comic #1? He goes, I owned it. Oh, can I see it? And he just hung his head in shame and went, I don't have it anymore. So if you ever have a chance, I mean, not to kick him in the nuts, but
Yeah.
he has to tell the story to do it justice.
Yeah.
Where he had at one point in his life, he had Action #1 and in Detective 27, which of
Yeah.
course, first appearance of Superman, first appearance of Batman.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I really wanted that book. I remember I knew about Demon in the Bottle. I'd never seen the cover, but Chick had it in the store. And I remember the first time I went in the store, they had Uncanny X-Men #141 and had it for a decent price,
Yeah.
raw, which is what I wanted. I didn't want it CGC'd. And when I finally had enough money to go buy, I went to buy it and it was sold.
Yeah.
She had both sold the raw copy and the CGC, and I was pissed.
Mm.
But I tried to blame her, but it was my fault.
Yeah.
Then they had Demon in the Bottle. They had Iron Man #128. I went and I kept eyeballing it. Finally said, I'm going to pull the trigger. I went to buy it, and it was sold. I missed it by like a day.
Yeah.
I looked up,
Always
and boom,
happens.
there it was at Sid's,
Yeah.
and grabbed it. So
Always happens, man. But yeah, it is it's on the topic of personal grails, guys. Like, uh, again, we have to keep on saying too. If you've been rocking with us since episode 1, collecting is definitely a long-term type of thing. You can definitely do a short-term kind of flip pretty easily, but at the same time, if you're looking at like you're gonna come in, find an Action 1, and then flip it for $3 million, not gonna be the case, homie. Because again, you're dealing with people. You're dealing with collectors of that own, uh, in that own context too. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, I'm more than damn sure this guy right here wouldn't have got that cover from Sid for the price he got it if he didn't know him. And
no, absolutely, and that's what
absolutely
it
not.
pays to.
Yeah, you definitely have to like just know your people, man. It's
Yeah,
good to go out and meet the people behind these comic book stores, man, because that's it. It's I know we talked about it in the very very first episode, or first few episodes. We talking about like the head of collectors, and like just buy and flip. Why are these comic people, these comic shops trying to sell these variants for so high? Well, there's a reason for that. There's a mechanic for that. And like, it's just be nice to your LCSs and be nice to the owners of your LCSs, because they feed your addiction. They feed this proper addiction of yours. They are one of the people. They are some of the greatest people I've ever known in my life, and that they definitely are worth your money and your time and definitely your respect first and foremost. That
absolutely.
Yeah, because like, don't be that person where you're just there to try to flip something real fast and then give them some type of attitude because you want them at a much lesser price, even though you're gonna sell that book 2 times the amount that you bought it at. Like, come on, we know how this game works. We know what you're doing it for, and just be nice to people. That's it, man. Be nice to people. Don't lowball people, and if you really want to try to find a grail because you've been in it for the long haul, it might pay off, and they might throw you a bone here or there and say, hey, I got that comic. You've been rocking me for a while, so here you go. This is a little foresight for me, or this is a little what's the word I'm looking for? Foreshadowing for me, because I'm currently hopefully gonna be in talks with Javelle for something big for me. And
And by
here's
the way,
hoping that works out.
it also pays to get Javel drunk if you want to improve your comic
That
collection.
too. That too. That it helps out a lot, and he does some things that, man, I'm pretty sure he regrets the afterwards. But sometimes he's like, you know what? It was fun. It's people
He
that love. So, yeah.
he has given away books that at the time were worth 3 digits.
Yep.
And I can guarantee you there were books that he didn't sell,
Yeah.
didn't raffle on a bought ticket,
Uh-uh.
said went full Oprah.
Yeah.
You get a CGC. You
Yeah.
get a CGC.
Yeah. And again, those are the times where, like, in order for you to get to those moments, you have to go to the store. You have to, rub elbows with the locals and have
And it's
fun and
not, and that's not
continue.
why. And I'm saying, and we show like the side of this. This is
Yeah.
not why we do it. We do it because they're family.
Mm-hmm.
What do they say?
Absolutely.
Ohana
Yeah.
means family. So
Yeah, and like and from that aspect too, like, if you know, if Javelle calls you, if Javelle knows you, and if Chick knows you, and if Sid knows you, and the new, I forgot his name, sadly, the owner, the new
I think
Interstellar,
it's Steve.
Steve. If they know you by name, if they know you and they've seen you come continually in and they rock with you, hey man, they'll throw you some favors, bro. So
Hell yeah.
again, all this right here is from favors. It's not just from favors, but just having on a good first name basis and good standing with all these people, all these amazing people. So yeah, that was our
that's our cover. Yeah, our cover episode for episode number 42. If you want to show us some of your your flex pulls, hit us up on Facebook. Go over to Facebook or go to Twitter when we post this particular episode on our social media. Comment in the section below with
as well as tag us on Instagram, guys. Definitely just tag us on Instagram. Show us what you guys got. Show us your covers. Well, I'll try hopefully try to put out a hashtag saying show off your cover day or whatever have you. But yeah, so see how that goes, guys.
Yeah. All right, guys. Also, don't forget to check us out on Fridays, or usually Fridays, or on Saturdays. We will drop the Disney Plus wrap up show. Right now, it of course is Falcon the Winter Soldier. We will get episode 6 to you either Friday night or Saturday morning, depending on when we record it. Most likely, we'll record on Friday shortly after the episode airs. I think maybe by the time we get to Loki, I know JR and I are looking into ways to do it live. And we're working on a couple of things that maybe we can drop those wrap-up shows live on YouTube and Facebook. We're working on a different at least I'm working on a different platform to do that on. So maybe by the time Loki comes around in June, we will do that. Also, let us know in the comments below if you want us to do the Bad Batch. If you want us to do a Bad Batch wrap up, I don't know yet how Disney's going to drop Bad Batch. If they're going to drop it full binge style, where they just drop all the episode at once, or if they're going to do it kind of Marvel and Mandalorian style and drop it episode week by week, we will find out in just a couple of weeks. May 4th, Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you, is when Disney Plus will drop. The Bad Batch, a new Star Wars original animated series on their streaming platform. And of course, on June 11th is when Marvel will return with Loki. We do know at this point it is at least a 6 episode, 1 hour a piece show, of course, featuring Tom Hiddleston as the titular Loki. And of course, Owen Wilson makes his debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we can't wait for that. So anyways, guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to tag us in your cover flexes. Don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube. Ring that bell for future notifications, because we're gonna have a ton of new content coming to the YouTube page. Also, so hit us up on Facebook, give us a like, and find us on Facebook, facebook.com/PS Comics I Love You, Instagram @PS Comics I Love You, and of course Twitter @PS Comics I Love the letter U, and of course Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor.fm, and of course now available on Amazon Music. Give us that 5-star review and hit us up with a little comment, or so to speak, and don't forget to subscribe. We are got something special coming the moment we hit 100 total subscribers on all podcast platforms. He is the Dark King, JR Cabacungan, at also not JR Comics 42 on Instagram, and I am the voice of reason, Kevin Pillow, saying so long. Thank you so much. And as always, to our friends out there, peace.
Cool, man.